This is the limitless Keith Lee.
This is Brody King.
This is Angel Garza.
Will Ospreay.
Hornswoggle.
Pentagon Jr.
The villain, Marty Skell.
The Mexican Ray Phoenix.
King Ricochet.
Concrete Rose Sunny Kiss.
And I'm here to ask you to stop what you're doing, take just one moment, and bask in the glory of the Busted Wide Open.
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 Boston Wide Open.
Busted Wide Open podcast.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous. Coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California. Welcome everybody to BWO Live, coming to you from the BWO universe across Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. My name is Nick Howell.
And the sexiest mongoose on Cloud 12, I am Sir Ian Dangerous. And yes, welcome to episode number 322 of Busted Wide Open. We're back, baby. We are back indeed, and we got to talk about Monday Night Raw. We also got to talk about Impact Rebellion, which happened this last weekend with some major things going down over there. We have much to discuss, Nick.
Oh, boy.
But the first question I have to ask for you, though, if Drew is fire, Braun is air, and Bobby Lashley is lightning, just based on their entrances alone, whose element is water?
You said fire, air,
because Drew,
lightning?
Yeah, when Drew comes out, fire.
Who's earth?
When Braun
Who's
comes out, air. Lashley's lightning. Yeah, who's earth? We know who wind and fire is. We just don't know.
I was
going to
say Bobby Lashley is earth because he's a rock.
He's lightning. He's got the lightning element.
That's true. He does have that.
Who are our earth and water summons? Just a question for the show. You all marinate on it, Nick. Let's do some business, and then we can get into the rest of Busted Wide Open.
Indeed. Thank you, sir. And thank you guys for joining us tonight. Still not watching NXT on time because I'm here doing BWO Live. We're glad you guys are here with us, too. Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Do some quick business catching up. Brian93079 subscribe with a tier 1 for 9 months. That means he gets a little bit of the chicken.
Good.
Chicken.
Woo, the chicken. Thank you very much, Brian. Welcome back to the channel. Jay Wolf threw in 200 bits. Said yesterday was the first full episode of Raw I have watched in over 2 years.
Oof.
What?
All three hours?
I feel we as the BWO Nation owe an apology for making you watch this crap on a regular basis. I feel like you are Jonah and Joel, and we are the evil corporation analyzing your minds. I appreciate the sentiment, Jay Wolf.
Maybe I'm more like what do you say, Crow? I'm more like Crow. Really. If we're doing MST3K here.
Yeah, I guess.
I'll be Crow. You can be Joel if you want, Nick.
Sure.
Yeah.
He has a lot more patience than I do. The rest of the bit, thank you very much, Jay, for the bits. Thank you, Brian, for the sub to kick us off here tonight. And guys, for the rest of you, linktree.com/BWO, your one-stop shop to find all the links to all things Busted Wide Open. You can find our Facebook, all of our social medias, our YouTube channel, and our Discord. Make sure you get into that for lively chats that happen for every show. Live chats as we're watching them live, and reserved channels for pay-per-views, such as what we had going on for Stand and Deliver, WrestleMania. There was even some Impact chatter Sunday night because some stuff went down. We got to talk about that, so we will be discussing that a little bit later. Big shout out to all the patrons. We will be doing the patron mailbag tonight immediately after BWO Live, so hang around for that. We'll be answering all of the questions in our weekly AMA show. And if you'd like to get your questions in, head over to patreon.com/BWO. All you got to be in is that $5 tier. You get all kinds of other rewards, plus bonus episodes up at the $10 tier. Best way to support the show over at patreon.com/BWO, along with all of the bits and subs here on Twitch. And shout out to YouTube, everybody watching over there. You can throw in your super chats too. We'll call them out and read them right here on the show as we go through them. But that is the business.
Actually, I think we missed one. Brian said he threw in a comment, and I went back and found it. Brian93079 says, Monday Night Raw sucks my will to live. But luckily for us all, it's Tuesday. And you know what that means. BWO for life.
Indeed.
Thank you very much, Brian.
I'll give you a little too sweet for that one. Thank you very much, Brian. TransZombie resubscribed with a tier 1 for 7 months.
Nice.
You know what that means?
Can.
Chicken.
Good.
Woo! Thank you very much, Ryan, for the resub. Welcome back to the channel.
Just getting started on our show, and I'm already hungry.
Oh man, so much chicken, so much chicken, so little time.
Yeah.
But thank you very much, guys, for all of that kicking us off. But let's head over and start with what went down on Monday Night Raw.
So much Monday Night Raw, so little time, and in fact, so much Monday Night Raw that was a whole lot like Monday Night Raw last week. The last thing we saw last week was Drew McIntyre having a handicap match against Mason T-Bar, formerly of Retribution, and then he couldn't handle it, so Braun Strowman inexplicably came out to help him, and it turned into a tag match, during which they ripped off the masks of Mason T-Bar, who then won via disqualification as Drew began to beat them with their own masks, which is kind of funny when I say it that way. Then this week, we start the way that we finished, with Mason T-Bar coming to the ring for a tag match with Braun and Drew. But we can't just have just a straight-up recap of one of those things from last week. No. We had to have Braun and Drew get into a big old baby disagreement backstage. A couple of big old kindergartners going, "Well, I don't like how you didn't thank me for last week. Well, I don't like you. I don't like your face.
Kid.
Well, fine. You're a kid. Oh, you're a kid. Well, fine. I'm just going to go out and I'm going to beat these guys myself." Which was Braun's sentiment. So Braun Strowman ends up having...
you. I don't need a tag partner. I'll be it myself.
Fire bad. Me, Braun. Go beat
Money
things.
good. Napster bad.
All right, James Hetfield. Yes. So Braun goes to the ring to have a handicap match with Mason T-Bar. He can't handle it. He gets beaten down, so who should come to save him but Drew McIntyre? And we come back from commercial, and now we're having a tag match.
Hang on.
Again.
I think in defense of Braun here, all right, if I may, the match actually ended in a DQ because Retribution, I can't call him Retribution anymore, can I?
You can absolutely. You can still call him Retribution. There's still T-Bar Retribution at T-Bar Retribution on Twitter because he can't change the name without becoming unverified. So he's going to be T-Bar Retribution for perpetuity.
In defense of Braun, they would not get out of the ring. Ergo, the ref calls the match. It's a disqualification, and they commenced beating down Braun Strowman. Out comes Drew McIntyre. Even though I don't need your help, Drew. What the hell is going on? Like, what is this shit?
But that wasn't all, because at the end of this tag match, there's a malfunction at the junction, and Drew McIntyre misses with the big clothesline, ends up taking out Braun, and then gets tossed over the barricade by T-Bar, who very wily tosses him over and then makes it back into the ring to beat the 10 count. They straight up outwitted Drew and Braun. Let's call a spade a spade. The Drew and Braun got hoodwinked by Mason T-Bar, who win this match, escape out the other side, and then the two of them get into each other's faces after the match, leading to Drew going up to Adam Pearce and saying, much like last week where he said, "I want Mason T-Bar." This time he goes, "I want Braun Strowman." And sure enough, later in the night, he got a match with Braun Strowman.
Why? What did Braun...
Well,
you came out and you got involved, Drew. What?
You got in his face first. You're being a dick. He's being a dick. You're both being dicks. Mason T-Bar outsmarted you. They're the smartest guys in the room. They're the smartest guys in the room right now. Although Braun did show that he's not just a big pile of meat, because he did go back to Adam Pearce and say, "Oh, Drew wants me." Well, I seem to recall not getting pinned in that match where Drew got the number one contendership for Bobby Lashley's title when he got the match at WrestleMania Backlash coming up. Therefore, I should get another shot at possibly being inserted into that match. If I win tonight, I should be inserted into that match and make it a triple threat. And Adam Pearce says, "You make a good point, big man. Why don't we do that?" And so that match later became a stipulation match, and Braun would be inserted into the match at WrestleMania Backlash if he won, which displeased Bobby Lashley because he and MVP came to the ring to bemoan this and said rightfully, in some wonderful logical storytelling, which I really appreciate, Bobby doesn't like triple threats because it puts him at a disadvantage, because the last time he was in a triple threat, he lost the U.S. title and wasn't even pinned. So he's not a fan of this. So we're just going to be ringside for this match to kind of be insurance to make sure Bobby has a straight-up one-on-one match with a man he knows he can beat straight up, Drew McIntyre. That makes sense.
I agree.
That was good logic. And so sure enough, MVP and Lashley were ringside for the Braun versus Drew match, which was a good match.
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it.
Well, the finish you kind of had to see coming. Yeah. You already have Lashley and MVP ringside.
It was one
Lashley,
of those. By the way, God damn it! I knew this was coming.
I know where this is going. It's a WWE finish. I hope the match is good. The match was good. When's the last time you saw two guys of that size being that athletic in the ring?
WrestleMania.
That's okay, touche. But at least it was a very good match for the two, and it was a very good Monday Night Raw match. I liked it. Braun had some really awesome athletic moves. We don't get to see him do a lot. You don't get to see Braun get tossed around a lot. You don't get to see Drew get tossed around a lot. You got to see both of them get tossed around this match.
It was a lot better to go off air than Charlotte Flair beating up referees. I'll admit that.
Exactly. This was and the way that it ended was, of course, you knew Lashley was out there, did not want Strowman to win, so he interfered to help Drew win. But then right as it looked like Drew was going to take out Strowman, Mason T-Bar show back up and scuttle the whole thing. They distract Drew. He eats a power slam. He loses. Braun's now going to be in this match at Backlash, and he and Drew go off the air pointing at Bobby Lashley. Apparently now they're cool, and both want Lashley and Mason T-Bar kind of run off into wherever the hell they hide.
To put more face paint on each other.
Right, yes.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
You're not the Road Warriors, okay?
No. Oh, that face paint. Don't, guys, just stop trying. Just be yourselves.
What they've done to my boy. Dijak!
It's Dijak. Oh, man. But here's the thing. We now know, okay, it appears that sure enough, Mason T-Bar are rogue agents. They're doing their own thing. They're just out to get Drew. Why Drew? No idea why there. Probably no logical reason. They just needed someone else to disrupt this match. But, okay, Braun is going to be in the Backlash main event. Nick, I know you hate triple threats, but do you think this is an instance where a triple threat made a better match?
It feels like an excuse that Retribution can get involved so that Lashley can keep the title so that we can actually get what we really want, which is Drew versus Lashley at SummerSlam for the title.
Is that what we really want, though?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I'll throw a hat tip to Braun. You know, because Drew had the title for the better part of a year. You know, at least he carried us through the pandemic era. You know.
Well, this is what this is making me think is, you know, we've had Braun circling around the title picture here for a while. He's been getting distracted by other things, and now he's actually being put into it. It's a good idea if you want to make this last a SummerSlam. Throw some other big fish up in this thing and have them fight for the chum as well. Yeah. You can have a whole Braun Strowman versus Lashley feud to keep Drew away from that. You can have Drew get distracted by Braun Strowman.
I just wish we could do legit number one contender storytelling and stop doing these triple threats with distraction finishes. Give me a proper run of somebody going through a gauntlet of people making their way to the number one contender spot so that they have earned the right to challenge for the championship. This triple threat bullshit, this is why I hate triple threats. And you know that they're doing it so that they can have the no DQ stipulation so that Retribution can get involved.
Probably, but at the same time, I think this makes a better match than a straight-up rematch of WrestleMania, which if we just have a straight-up rematch of WrestleMania and Mason T-Bar get involved, we'd be disappointed. At least this way, we're going to see these three big dudes beat each other up. That's going to be an entertaining match. I think it's a better idea than just having a straight-up rematch. You were the one who was saying, I can't believe we're going to have a pay-per-view that has all just WrestleMania rematches. Well, your prayers have been answered. You're not getting straight-up rematches. You're getting something new.
Yay.
Be careful what you wish for. Right. It's the monkey's paw.
That's true.
Right? This turkey's a little dry.
TransZombie threw in 100 bits, and I'm watching via double platform, YouTube and Twitch. Oh, man, you're getting it in simulcast.
Dang.
Yes, reminder, guys, we are working on bringing the YouTube stream up to snuff with the Twitch one, so you'll be able to do all of your subs and bits and all that stuff over on Twitch, on YouTube as well. So just in case that gives you choice of what you can do. So thank you very much, TransZombie, for checking out the YouTube one.
Thank you.
Also threw in another 100 bits, and I'm waiting for Mason T-Bar to reveal that they're working with Braun, and they're from the Wrecking Crew. Is that a reference I'm supposed to get?
Yeah, I mean the Wrecking Crew.
Was it like a breakdancing group?
Well, I don't know if we're talking about the Minnesota Wrecking Crew here,
yeah.
but
okay. That I know. That I understand.
I wouldn't, but at the same time, like the idea of Mason T-Bar working together with Braun,
it's not terrible.
Not 100% mad at
No.
it. It would certainly be more interesting than them just being in the back and having terrible promos and be like, "We're here to destroy
possums
Bruh.
and foxes and squirrels." Oh, okay.
Alligators.
Yeah, alligators.
Alligators in the swamp.
Oh, thank you,
Retribution.
Kyle Cotton threw in 100 bits, said, Raw is in a bad way when the most entertaining and engaging personality on the show is heel Sheamus. The entire show feels like it was produced by one of those TV script-making computer programs based off the information of what has come before. Side note, Braun has Constable Corbin go away heat with me for this giant toddler stuff right now.
He's not the worst toddler on Raw.
I feel like Braun has found his thing. Like he was Black Sheep, and that was cool. I feel like Braun has kind of gimmicked entrance now with the train. He's got the look with the gloves and the tight shirt. No, he's got a look. I'm not saying it's the look that he should stick with. It's more than he's had before. Yeah. Big man train go fast.
I shovel coal real good. I don't know if it is just tickling the edge of that like mid-90s gimmick. He's an evil conductor. And he's the conductor of the train to hell. So I don't know. It's a look. I still preferred. Here's the thing. I just remember the last time that Braun and Lashley had a feud. It was badass. Remember Braun spearing him through the LED boards at the top of the stage?
There's a story. They've got history. Why not call back to that?
That was.
It was not a good time to remember Lashley because he was in the midst of doing shit with Sami Zayn.
And he was showing everyone his butt every week.
Yeah.
So it was not the finest era of Lashley, but certainly again, I love the big guys. I want to see them. I want to see these three in a triple threat. I think it's a good idea. But again, we were bringing up Mason T-Bar. What are they going to do with them if they're not members of the Hurt Business? Doesn't that make them a potential threat to Lashley? What is MVP going to do now that they've officially screwed Lashley over a little bit here? Like, are they just rogue agents? They're just going to be there to fulfill WWE, as you say. They're just going to be there to just make WWE's, crappy finish booking happen over and over and over again.
They're Vince's ace up his sleeve whenever he needs to pull some shenaniganry. It's like, just send Retribution out.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But let's say Lashley wins. Let's say he pulls out a win here, I think we both suspect that he will.
Yes.
That he'll pull out a win.
I fully expect Lashley to retain at Backlash. I refuse to call it WrestleMania here. Backlash.
Yeah. If he does, then what? Do we see Drew and Braun go off and have a feud? Do you think that Braun gets a solo shot at Lashley? What next? What's the plan here? Because there's been a lot of recent directional changes with creative in Raw. We know that they had a creative meeting last week where they did a lot of changes. It's the same time that we got Randy and Braun to not have a feud, and Randy was off doing something with Riddle. So we know that they just had a major shift in a lot of their angles. What do we think the end goal is here? Or what are they going for?
I do see, because we're going to have Extreme Rules in between Backlash and SummerSlam. At July, I think, is what the dates are. So we're still going to have another pay-per-view in between. So we've also got Money in the Bank in there somewhere. So there's 2 more pay-per-views before we ever get to SummerSlam, right? After Backlash. So there's plenty of. Could you bring up the Lashley thing with Braun in the past, where you put him through LED boards? Sure, you could. I mean, I trust it in the video editors. I trust to make an amazing montage story to build this. Could we see Lashley and Braun have a Extreme Rules match, as extreme as it's been recently? I'm eye rolling a little bit saying that. Sure,
I would watch these three guys have an Extreme Rules match.
Sure.
Drew has shown he's willing to go there in those matches with Sheamus. I think Lashley's down to go. Strowman has obviously done some big stunts in the past. I think an Extreme Rules between these three guys would be freaking awesome.
Yes, I agree.
I'd be down with that. Okay. See, now you're back on board here?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Make triple threat with stuff makes sense at Extreme Rules.
Right.
Backlash feels like it's a second chance type. It's even in the name. It feels like it's a second chance. So even though it's going to be a pay-per-view card full of rematches from do-overs from WrestleMania, there's still even opportunities to flip the script on us. And I think that's kind of the hidden beauty of the pay-per-view. Otherwise, why have it?
Well, that's kind of what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that this is leading to, because again, this was most of Monday Night Raw was the good, the bad, and the ugly on this Monday Night Raw. Right?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Steve Austin keeps slipping down over here, and it's really starting to piss me off.
Jay Wolf threw in 100 bits, said it's only a matter of time before Braun comes out with a conductor hat and coal smeared on his face carrying a shovel. No!
A matter of time. It's like I'm expecting it any week now. I'm expecting any week now.
Don't do that to my boy.
Yeah. It's coming. Get ready. Big train go burr.
Choo-choo!
Choo-choo. I'm going to shovel you. I'm going to bury you with my coal shovel.
What was that kid's book? My mom used to read me Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel or something like that. And I just, when you do stuff like that, that's all I think about.
You know, Braun backstage motivating himself for matches. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can.
Yeah.
Braun the Tank Engine. Oh, my God. But again, if Raw was the good, the bad, and the ugly, there was definitely some good in the main angle. There was some bad. There was some ugly. But ultimately, I do end up with some hope. And, Nick, I got to say, I'm ending up with some hope for everything that's going on with Charlotte Flair.
Okay.
Now, while it does seem like the only thing that WWE is interested in is Charlotte Flair, because we also had a 6-woman tag match with all the rest of our champs from Raw and the tag champs, Charlotte Flair had a bunch of her own segments where she ends up not being suspended after all. Sonya Deville lets her in the back door, walks her to the ring, and they have a bit where they bring out Eddie Orengo, or as I'll call him, Eddie Ringo. Why, look, darling, it's Eddie Ringo, the deadliest referee since Wild Bill, they say.
That's
Did
it.
I
hate him.
Apparently Charlotte hates him too, because last week she didn't like his refereeing and beat the crap out of him, was suspended indefinitely and fined $100,000 in kayfabe. Sonya Deville said, well, Charlotte, why don't you apologize to Eddie and apologize for what you did? And Charlotte says, I am so very sorry for what I did. I don't know what came over me. I'm so sorry, Eddie. And Sonya Deville says, cool, we're all good. Charlotte, you're reinstated. Just one thing, though, Eddie. Charlotte, something you want to say to him? And Charlotte says, yes, Eddie. I just want to say that, had you not refereed the match poorly, this wouldn't have happened. So why don't you apologize to me? And Eddie just kind of looks at her and goes, sorry. Okay, cool. By the way, Charlotte's going to have a match tonight. Eddie, you're going to be the referee for that. And then Charlotte makes Eddie hold the ropes for her on the way out. So I thought this was some great stuff, some great character work stuff here. It made me intrigued what's going on with Sonya Deville. Why is she now taking Charlotte's side? Adam Pearce was backstage. He was pissed off about this. The whole Sonya Deville is like a subtle heel authority figure who's like slowly turning on Adam Pearce is actually playing out really well.
That part I did.
The slow turn's working really well. The new kind of like entitled Karen Charlotte is actually really loathsome, and I love that. I want to hate my heels, and I hate Charlotte right now in a good way. So that's working. And then later, Sonya goes up to Mandy because Mandy interfered in the 6-woman tag match, which we'll talk about later because I really don't want to talk about it.
No, not yet.
But they interfere in that match. Not yet.
I'm still having a good time.
We got to work up to that. We need the lidocaine to settle in first. So Mandy gets told by Sonya, hey, because of your little trick there, and because I hate you still, nice little bit of history, you're going to go have a match with Charlotte. And so sure enough, Mandy comes out and gets whooped pillar to post by Charlotte for the most part. Eddie Orenga almost screws things up for Charlotte. She almost beats him up again, almost loses the match, and then takes out Mandy and stands tall and then makes Eddie hold the ropes for her. So all around, things with Charlotte are going in a bit of a different direction. She's got a bit of a gimmick change. The hair is different. The outfit that goes to the ring is different. Her attitude is a bit different. And she seems to have Sonya Deville wrapped around her finger. Nick, in my opinion, this is all good stuff. This is good creative. This is good for her. What do you see being the ultimate story with Sonya and Charlotte? Is this like Sonya is taking advantage of a powerful, is it like a power play between the two of them? Is there something more here? What do you think is actually, what do you think they're going for here?
I was wondering if they were, because it was involved Mandy, if they were going to try and do something with that to bring that back up. That was my initial thought.
It seems subtly like it was an I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine.
Yeah.
You take out my old enemy Mandy Rose if I unsuspend you, right? A little quid pro quo. But I like that they're hinting that Sonya might be dirty, if you know what I mean. It's like she might not be on the up and up, which we always kind of suspected, but we never saw anything. She was playing it kind of close to the vest,
yes, pardon
the pun. But now some of those heel tendencies are coming out.
Sonya's drip continues to be fantastic, by the way. Just
off the chain.
I need her Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
I need to. Well, if I ever get back out of the house again,
right.
I will need the services of her Taylor.
And what's interesting about this is, and this is a trend with WWE, I feel, is that the storylines they want to tell, regardless of the title, they're going to feature more. And so as a result, Charlotte is getting the spotlight. Not surprising to anyone who's ever watched WWE programming with Charlotte. Charlotte is usually the center of attention. And here she is with no title, and she's the center of attention again. Do you think this is going to rub people the wrong way, or is that the intention? Because a lot of the heel stuff that's going on here is working. She's she's one of those heels that just like nails on a chalkboard.
You're referring to Charlotte or Sonya?
Yeah, Charlotte.
Okay. I love Sonya as a heel. I love Charlotte as a heel. I love Sonya as a heel too, for the record. I love Charlotte as a heel. It works so much better than what we've seen her try and do in the past. As face flair kind of. It just doesn't work with a flair. They need to be heels. They need to be dicks, right? They need to be huge dicks.
Full on, just loathsome assholes.
Yes, indeed. This absolutely works for me. Charlotte's got the new look going on, the new hairstyle. It kind of feeds into that. It's got that evil kind of vibe to it. Just dastardly kind of look to it, but still beautiful, right? It's still got that kind of allure, but it's just, there's something smarmy about it that just makes me
wicked witch about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Smarmy's a good word, and the way she's carrying herself and acting is very smarmy, very entitled, and it's working because it just rubs you the wrong. Like you just get this vibe that just makes you feel terrible. Yeah. You're just like, oh, you're gross.
I have a question. What was with the slow-mo of them when she let Charlotte in the back door? What was with this? They were walking so slow. Are they just in like 8-inch heels or something and they just can't move any faster?
Charlotte can move in heels. We've seen that. That's not it.
Why were they going so? Is there some?
It was the Reservoir Dogs walk.
Okay.
Doon 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 doon. Doon, 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 doon,
I don't know.
doon, doon, doon.
It's not firing on all cylinders for me yet. I'm skeptically optimistic that it's going to turn into something good because it's Sonya and Charlotte. We'll see, but I'm not there yet.
I'll put it this way. On a 3-hour show, to have about half an hour worth of content with all of the things with Charlotte here, between her match with Mandy, it was nice to see Mandy get some work in there. So between all of this content with Charlotte, I was intrigued and I was entertained. And you know what? That's all I ask when I watch Raw is don't insult my intelligence, which is a big ask apparently. and entertain me and intrigue, keep my attention. This kept my attention, and it didn't insult my intelligence. It felt like there was history there with Sonya and Mandy. You understood why she did that. It felt like there was something going on with Sonya and Charlotte. We don't know what it is yet. The way that Charlotte interacted with the ref she beat up last week was great. The interaction between Sonya and Adam Pearce was great. All of this, like a lot of layers going on here. This was intriguing. This was good.
I'm mostly interested to see what happens with Sonya and Adam Pearce, if I'm being honest. How are they going to split duty? Are they ever going to name them officially general managers?
Or is there going to be some sort of thing where we have, two authority figures that are working against each other backstage? Which
I feel like we've had that before.
We have, but it's been a while.
Daniel Bryan was a GM, and they were at odds with each other. With was it Shane?
But they were different brands.
Yeah.
That was when there was a GM. Yeah, there was a GM and a commissioner.
That's right.
Right, and they were working at odds. It wasn't just two equal officials. Yeah. So this could be an interesting dynamic. Yeah, there's a lot that I like here. There's a lot of potential here. So that's going to go down in the good of the good, bad, and the ugly columns. Yeah. Over there, somewhere between good and bad, I'd say probably leaning towards bad, was our Miz TV segment leading into a tag match. Miz comes out. Guess who's back, Nick?
Johnny Drip Drip.
Johnny Drip. He is back. And it's nice to see him back because I was worried about him. He was out there with Elias and Jackson Riker, and they decided to do an acoustic rendition of Hey Hey Hop Hop, with Jackson Riker taking a couple of solo lines. This whole thing might have been one of the most painful things I've seen in a while, but that was the point. Yeah. It was supposed to be bad.
They wanted to draw out.
They wanted to draw me out.
Oh, no. Damian Priest, what are you doing here?
Oh, I just can't stand this stuff.
Well, apparently, because you did come out to interrupt this segment.
I did.
And you came out, in fact, with New Day, and you even had Xavier with his base in a case. Only it wasn't actually his base. Y'all pulled out a whole bunch of tomatoes.
That was funny.
And started.
that was actually Xavier's idea.
You actually kind of sound like Butthead from Beavis and Butthead when you laugh, Mr. Yeah, that's really disturbing, Mr. Priest.
Sorry.
But you started winging these tomatoes at Miz, Morrison, Jackson, and Elias. I have to say it was deserved. And while it was very, very stupid, like the lowest bar that WWE hits, I have to say in a very childish way, it was pretty funny to watch Miz take a tomato right to the kisser.
Yeah, and even Morrison got involved. He was having fun too. He was bashing tomatoes into Kofi's face, on top of his head. Yeah, everybody had fun.
He was selling tomatoes. Yes, there was a lot of fun with tomatoes, Mr. Priest. Mr. Priest, could you excuse us for 1 second? I think Nick needs to do some catching up, and then we'll come back and talk more about your segment.
We'll be right. See you guys.
Give us 1 second.
Yes, Kyle threw in 100 bits, said this royally pissed me. Going back to Charlotte. This royally pissed me off because it seemingly torpedoed Charlotte feuding for the title. We are now 5 weeks in, and they still don't know how they want to portray their damn women's champion. Raw is basically, if you are senior enough to get your creative direction, you'll be fine. But if you are new, you will starve on the vine waiting months for an old man to decide what to settle on. There is more than Charlotte in the main title, Vince.
It is true, and this was the problem when Asuka was champ too, is you'd have all kinds of things going on, and Asuka was just kind of there. Yeah. And now it feels like Rhea is just kind of there. And unfortunately, I do in some ways agree with Kyle here, but on the other side of things, I feel like this is setting up Charlotte for a lot of stuff. They need to do something with Rhea. They need to define her more. She's just the big scary smirking chick right now.
We're not going there yet. I'm wound up for that one.
Oh yeah, so we'll get to Rhea, but I agree with this in the sense that there is a lot of focus being put on Charlotte, but at least the things they're doing with Charlotte are good in the bigger picture. That's good stuff. I wish they could do that with their champion, I think is what I'm taking away and what I would agree with Kyle.
Thank you, Kyle. And Cyclops, Andy Jessup threw in 100 bits.
Hey,
said, is it
up,
time
man?
Charlotte dropped to mid-card and elevated them like Seth Rollins and Daniel Bryan are doing, or will Charlotte always be main event?
Maybe not always, but she's still main event.
Charlotte is the face of your company in the women's division as far as I'm concerned.
At this point, yeah, I'd say still so.
Yep.
You've definitely got you have a lot more alternatives now. There's definitely a bit of a deeper main event women's pool than there has been in recent days. And if and when Becky comes back, that will only grow. But Charlotte is still one of your main draws. She's still probably from a technical standpoint, one of the best women wrestlers you have on the main roster. She's a draw. She can do everything at an extremely high level. As proven when, even Sonya, who's a great promo, when she was out there, cutting her lines with Charlotte blew her out of the water in terms of cutting her lines.
Presence, charisma, all of that. It's not as perceptive, or it's not as easily perceptible when Charlotte's out there on her own, but it was very visible with her and going toe to toe with Sonya, riffing with Sonya there in the ring last night. Charlotte, as you said, blew her out of the water. I was more tuned in on what Charlotte was saying than what Sonya was saying. And that's not a knock on Sonya. Sonya's fine. Sonya's great. Charlotte is just Charlotte. Charlotte is beyond great at this point.
Go watch a Sasha Banks promo and then watch a Charlotte promo. Like, she's just head and shoulders above that.
Well said.
And Sasha's great. So, yeah, Charlotte deserves to be where she is. It's just it does, after a while, feel like she's always involved in the top. It's just she also deserves to be there. I'd say it's kind of like a Roman Reigns situation in the constant overpush, except I didn't think that they were portraying Roman Reigns correctly for all those years. And I feel like, for the most part, Charlotte's been portrayed correctly. And I think she's being portrayed correctly now. I love how they're portraying her now, even though I hate it at the same time. I'm supposed to hate it.
You can't tell me if you were running you wouldn't have her at the top of the card if you were running things.
No, it's exactly. If I was WWE, Charlotte would be right where she is too. I would just try to do a better job with my champions.
Sure. Which
and people like Asuka.
I'm trying to save that to last before I go bananas.
We'll wait. That's the ugly. We'll get to the ugly later.
So it was a lot of fun seeing the tomatoes come out. I'm not gonna lie, my inner 10-year-old was just tomatoes.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Tomatoes in his face.
Because you get a lot of reaction to Raw, which was, oh my God, there's this horrible concert, and then this awful, they're throwing tomatoes. I thought this was pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Which, Steve Austin came out in a beer truck and everyone loved it. They can't bring out tomatoes and whip them at people. Like, come on. This is pro wrestling. That is part of it. Have a little fun. And then we actually end up having a match, which, that match was nuts. The finish of that match was insane. The false finishes were crazy. There was about a 3-minute stretch of just relentless nonstop action. And let me just underscore that this was a match with Miz, Jackson Ryker, and Elias versus versus the New Day now, I guess, because Big E split off, versus Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, and Damian Priest. Now, those three guys can carry a match, but, dude, Jackson Ryker, Elias, and Miz held up their part of the bargain here. This match was really exciting at the second half of it. This went from being a goofy segment that love it or hate it. I get both sides. I get both things. If you loved it or hate it, fine. But you can't tell me this match wasn't exciting.
It was until the finish. With all of that excitement and all of that buildup, it ended in a surprise roll-up from Xavier Woods, rolling up Jackson Ryker. You couldn't have hit a big finish to end the match?
There was finisher, big move, and all of a sudden, whoop, little small package, and it's done. It was one of those moments where, and this is why I put it in the notes, it's like, after all the big moves, why end on a small package? And to me, it felt like, after all of these, it was all these big near finishes and big near hits on finishers, and then one little small package gets it. For me, the rhythm of that, it felt like a change-up, right? Like a pitcher's change-up, where because it was so sudden and shocking, it actually worked for me. Even though I'm with you, Nick, I tend to not like small package finishes. Here, with the rhythm that they'd established in the match, it worked. It was shocking. It was sudden.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Agree to disagree then, maybe?
Yeah, I disagree on that. With as much action and as much excitement and all of those dudes that we know can work, I'm not mad at Jackson taking the pin. I think that's the right move. But I feel like they've got that thing where Kofi jumps off the top and it's almost like a Meltzer driver, whatever they call it, up, down, down. That's what I was trying to think of. They could have done something big like that. Why did we have to do a surprise schoolboy roll-up, small package roll-up?
I like the fact that everyone was taking each other out of the ring. Damian Priest going over the top, and then Kofi taking out.
Oh, that's great.
Elias, it was an exciting finish again on a Raw where it's really easy to point at a lot of the flaws, and there were a lot of flaws. This was at least one instance where this, I'm like you, where I'll be working on the show. I'll be kind of I'll be paying attention to Raw, but if it's not super engaging, I will kind of drift. I'll be checking news. I'll be, putting together the show, whatever. This match held my attention. Yeah. And that says something. Yeah. So props where props are due.
Jesse O'Connor threw in 100 bits, said the anxiety that match gave me was unreal.
Yeah. Agreed.
If you look at the characters that are in it, that's kind of a surprise. I wouldn't have expected that, right? If you had told me that there would be an exciting match between Miz and Riker and Elias versus New Day and Damian Priest, like I would have been concerned at that pair up in the first place.
Right.
But exciting and anxious, yeah, it had energy at the end of it.
It had a lot of energy. So another question here: why do you think they're not using John Morrison more? He was outside the ring here. We know he's got a bit of a tweaked knee, but he was able to work just fine at WrestleMania. Are they just kind of saving him? What's going on with him? Like we were wondering if he was going to split up off of Miz a week or two ago.
I still think that's coming. I think he's got a United States Championship run in him at some point. Something along those lines.
I wish. I wish that'd be awesome.
Could you imagine him and Riddle for the U.S. Championship at some point? That's the kind of shit I want to see him doing.
God, the one time they had that match or whatever it was 2 months ago was just that's the match he tweaked his knee, actually, I think.
Damn.
Was one with Riddle.
Thank you, Jesse. Jay Wolf threw in 100 bits, said, as much as I get tired of roll-up finishes, people forget one of the greatest matches of all time, Macho versus Steamboat, ended in a small package.
Thank you.
When I also know at that time it was special when they got caught with it. Now it's overused.
Oh,
Simon counted them on What Culture last year. There was over 100 of them.
The qualifier.
100.
Back then, it was something special. Back then, a DDT could finish a match, and a super kick was a finishing move. Now they just spam them and spam them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That kind of stuff. Thank you, Jay.
I love small packages when used correctly.
Hey now.
Hello. Before anyone dwells on that, let's move on to something else. Probably my favorite thing on the show, Nick. RK Bro.
I thought you were going to say Humberto Carrillo has a beard, but okay.
No, it looks weird. He needs to stop.
It does look weird.
Let it go.
It looks like a small child with a grown man's head and beard.
When I tell you to let a beard go, you need to let a beard go. I am no man to talk about another man's beard, and that man needs to let that beard go.
I'm able to weigh in on beards.
You're able, yes, you can talk about beards.
It looks weird. Shave.
We're not talking about beards yet. Oh. We're talking about RK Bro.
Oh, I thought you said your favorite thing on Raw. So
was RK Bro.
RK Bro, yeah.
It's official.
This was fun.
Matt Riddle in the back getting interviewed about Randy Orton. He's still on cloud 12 because he's above cloud 9. Whatever it is, he is high as a kite in the clouds. He is flying high, and as he's talking about how Randy Orton's just a big old slithery snake and he's like a wily, sexy mongoose, Ricky Tikki Tavi. I know what he's talking about. You never got Ricky Tikki Tavi when you were a kid? I can't even say it. Ricky Tikki Tavi. Anyway, he's talking about Randy. Randy shows up, and Randy, shockingly, is looking a bit chagrined. A side of Randy we don't see often. A somewhat humbled Viper. He rolls in and gives probably one of the best sequences of lines I've seen on WWE TV in years. And I'm not going to be able to imitate it even a fraction of how good it was. But he comes up and says, all right, look, I don't know what planet you're from. And Riddle immediately responds, I'm from Earth, bro. Yeah, and he goes, shut up.
Just deadpan as hell.
Shut up. Doesn't even let him finish. Shut up. I was crying laughing. Yeah. The way that Randy reacted to him, well, I had to pause because I was laughing so hard. Already, so last week, Nick, we suspected they might be going into a tag team with RK Bro. We kind of called it. We were like, what's going on here? Why would Matt Riddle beat him and then have this reaction? Yeah. And then the way they were handling it after the fact. We thought they might be going into another odd couple tag team, kind of like Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle in NXT. And my God, Nick, if this interview, if Randy Orton coming in and talking to Riddle and his reaction to him saying, look, I'm willing to give it a shot, just shut the hell up. Yeah. I got a match all set up for us. We'll see how it goes.
It's got a little Dane Maverick vibe to it as well, if I'm not crazy.
A little bit, but whatever. It's an odd couple pairing. Yeah. if this is any indication of what we're going to get out of this, I am so 110% all in on this. It actually hurts. This was fantastic. The match they had a match with Cedric and Shelton. Poor Cedric and Shelton. Oh, they're the Minnesota enhancement crew.
Right.
They're out there. They do their best to work on Riddle. Randy comes in. He tears him apart. Apparently, he had a deep bruise in his shoulder last week, but he's okay. He's okay to work. So thank God he's okay. He's able to come out and work this angle. And he and Riddle end up getting the win here. He actually lets Riddle tag in, do a floating bro to get the pin on Shelton Benjamin. And then afterwards, he's like, Riddle's trying to celebrate. Randy's like, no, don't.
He's
don't
trying to give him a hug, and he's like, don't touch me.
He's like, don't touch me. He gets out and goes to the back with a little look on his face like, I hate it, but it's kind of working.
Yeah.
And it's Riddle just being over the moon, giddy, goofball, and Randy being the chagrined straight man. Oh my God, I'm so here for this, Nick. This was wildly entertaining.
Costanza threw in 100 bits, said, I know Nick doesn't like single stars being teamed up, but I want RK Bro.
Thank you.
Listen,
Nick,
I will relent on this one.
Wow.
I too
wow.
want RK Bro. Bro.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, you have been huffing on that pipe over there, haven't you? Hey. I told you got like a new one in there, right? New little, what do you call it? Like a new little vape in there?
It's sugar water.
Uh-huh. Is that what they're, wink, wink, sugar water?
Yeah.
Is that what they're calling it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So is it sweet?
I mean, I'm in North Carolina now, so it's sugar water.
Oh, I see.
We have Barney Fife here.
Right.
In North Carolina.
Right. You don't want to alert the po-po. We can't see me winking, but I'm winking.
Right.
RK Bro is a thing. What do you think this is? Because Corey kept saying at some point he's going to turn on him. At some point,
yeah,
Randy
what's the over-under on how long this lasts before Randy turns on Riddle and just RKO's him? 2 weeks, maybe?
That's exactly what my question was. What's the over-under before this implodes and Randy just can't take it anymore and just kills Matt Riddle?
I'm going to go 2 weeks. Do we even make it to Backlash? Maybe it's at Backlash.
Well, this is the question, though. This is a champion caliber team. You've already got an odd couple as champions in AJ and Amos, who we haven't seen since WrestleMania. The champs are absent from the brand.
It's been 3 weeks. Where are the Raw Tag Team champions?
They've gone missing. Someone dredged the lake. What are we doing making another odd couple in the tag division when the tag division is already so shallow and your champs are an odd couple? What's up with this? Why do this? I mean, aside from, I know this was one of the creative decisions that they made. Take Randy off of a feud with Braun Strowman, put him into a thing with Matt Riddle. It's, by the way, as far as them like coming up with a quick new idea, boom, this totally works. You can see why Randy was all for it. He okayed it.
He RK'd it.
He RK okayed it. Yeah. So I think it's the right idea, but it's one of those things where I feel like they did something without looking at the bigger picture, and they're like, we'll just figure it out later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. It feels like they made something good, and it may end up continuing to be something good, but it might scuttle some other things. Like we already have some of the other tag teams, like New Day. They're off goofing off with Jackson Riker and Elias, who I guess are technically a tag team now. Miz and Morrison, technically a tag team. And then you got poor Cedric and Shelton, who are out there just putting everybody over now.
Yeah.
Viking Raiders are still running around somewhere. So there is a tag division. It's a very odd tag division right now, but there is a division with legitimate tag teams. It's just this seems like a tag team that could get a lot of TV time for the fact that it's Randy Orton and Matt Riddle, and it's entertaining, and it's obviously entertaining the people in the back. So this could get a lot of TV time, but then what do you do with your champions who you, for all intents and purposes, should have an interesting bunch of TV to do with as well?
I don't know. I don't know. It feels very weird. I think you bringing up the odd couple pairing of AJ and Omos, and now we're doing another one with Riddle and Randy Orton. I had not thought about that. It gives me fear that maybe something happened to AJ or Omos, and that they're going to do something, that this is kind of a quick end around, that we're not
what-
expecting of some sort? I don't know. Where are they going to still be the champions? Are they going to strip the titles off of them?
Why wouldn't they be the champs? Maybe AJ wanted a break after WrestleMania.
Then why strap them, for God's sakes?
Yeah, you got me. All I know is we got a hype train going on over in the Twitch chat. Hello, hype train.
Somebody say train. Oh
No,
wait, no,
no,
it's wrong. Bad timing.
Don't make the hype train into a
I'm gonna have to
Braun
make
thing.
the hype train trigger the Braun sound effect.
Oh
Yes,
no!
it's gonna happen. They're gonna keep using it, so I'm gonna use it. It's fine. We got there because let's see. Andy threw in 100 bits. He said Umberto Carrillo.
Umberto.
Yes.
Beard Poppy.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about that. Thank you, Andy. Man. Abe showed up. It's good thing because we can start the show
What's
now.
up,
Thank
Abe?
you, Abe.
Okay, we start the show.
Said Corey Graves did a good job calling this match, especially the way he kept teasing the RKO coming at the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
Loved it. Yep. Loved it. Corey is carrying Raw. Not to say that Byron Saxton isn't doing anything. He's still doing his job. He's being great, but Corey is absolutely carrying Raw because good Lord knows
I wasn't going to bring this up yet. I was gonna wait till we talked about the one last good thing that happened on Raw, but
that poor man is lost.
Heinz tomatoes. Tomatoes perfect for your wrestling match to be thrown into a bad performance.
We're gonna need a bigger boat. Yeah. Everyone get that reference?
Yeah. Take them to your wrestling match in a guitar case. They fit perfectly because they're nice and round. Yeah, and they smash because they're rotten. Yeah.
Adnan guitar case.
I said in Discord
30% off.
earlier today, if he makes it another month, I'll be impressed. And Tom Phillips must be somewhere steaming.
Main event, I believe, or
bet
205
he
Live.
Is
Where did he get
incensed that he got replaced with that?
Hole did he get banished to? Well, so here's the thing. So I found this out. So the reason we have Adnan Virk is that he is a former client of Nick Khan, who's the current, like he stepped in as like one of the top bigwigs in
CFO
WWE
or something. I don't know.
Right. So he and Nick Khan used to be a high-powered agent, and Adnan Virk was one of his clients. So that's where we got Adnan from. Apparently, he's somewhat of a fan of wrestling, but the fact that he can't call any moves, doesn't know if Drew or Sheamus is the Celtic Warrior. It's off to a bad start. I mean, there's having Corey and Byron carry him, and then there's having them it's like Atlas, like they're carrying him as though he is the world. It's got to be so heavy. It's insane. They're carrying him like those guys dancing with the coffin.
Like why? Yeah, right. The Nigerian funeral or whatever it is.
Yes. Is it Nigerian? Are you just saying that? He's
no, it's some. I think it's Nigerian funeral is the meme.
It's only a matter of time before Apollo puts that into his gimmick.
It wouldn't be bad if you've got Dabba-Kato coming down with a coffin, and a bunch of dudes.
He beats Big E.
Right?
The next week, a bunch of dudes coming out with Big E in a coffin.
They're just dancing with the coffin on their shoulder.
Oh, no, don't Don't give them any ideas.
I did see WWE Creative in the chat earlier, so.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, they know now. Oh, it's too late. Run,
too
everybody's
late. Costanza threw in 100 bits at Hype Train. Thank you, Chris. Jesse threw in 100 bits at AJ and Omos are plotting with Omega in Impact.
Oh, the forbidden door is going to be opening.
Oh, it's kicked wide open now. Jesse threw in another 100 bits, said, choo, choo. That's just, it's a thing now. I'm sorry. Chris threw in another 200 bits, said, give us the bro button. All right.
Bro.
You paid for it. Sure. All right.
There we go.
TransZombie threw in 100 bits, said, hype bros. Thank you very much, TransZombie. Jessica O'Connor threw in another cheers for RK Bro.
Bro.
Indeed.
Oh, my God.
And Marshall, NC Raging Cajun, resubscribe with Twitch Prime for 5 months. One more month and you get your bucket of chicken, man. Thank you very much. Welcome back. Thank you, everybody, for the hype train. Enjoy the emotes and all that good stuff.
Oh, my sides. Oh, it's good stuff. That's good stuff.
We got one more thing to talk about. This is going to be fun because I'm just going to make fun of Umberto Carrillo's terrible beard for the next 5 minutes. But then we're going to get nasty. Forewarning. Nick's going to get nasty.
Oh.
Not the good kind of nasty.
You like Janet Jackson?
Like nasty like I was last week nasty.
Oh, my goodness. Like mid-90s Madonna nasty? No. Oh, okay.
I won't be justifying anybody's love.
Well, then before we have you get nasty, let's talk about the beard. Let's talk about Humberto Carrillo. Sheamus. Nick's already dying. Sheamus comes out again, do the same thing. All right, we'll have an open challenge for my U.S. title. Only the match won't be for the U.S. title. So who wants a shot at the champ? And once again, out comes Humberto Carrillo. This surprised me because last week Humberto came out and got beaten down pretty quickly. He just came out and posed, turned his back on Sheamus, and got his ass whooped. He came out again, gets right in Sheamus's face. Sheamus starts beating him down, and as soon as Sheamus thinks that the kid is done, he pops back up and starts whooping Sheamus's ass, including giving him a massive tope suicida through the ropes. Sheamus goes flying over the announce table. He's pissed. Carrillo leaves gloating, saying, "That's right, I gave it back to you. What now?" Hey, looks like my blue chip boy is back on the table.
And I'll tell you this, he ain't been hanging out in catering. That son of a bitch has been in the weight room. He's swole AF. He is looking real jacked, baby.
Like, Carrillo looked good before.
Yeah. Now he's got tone. Like, good Lord.
He's looking really good, except for that weird growth on his face.
It almost looked like Sam Roberts' shitty fake beard that he glues on every pay-per-view. It's not that bushy. It's more kind of patchy. Again, I'm no one to talk about anybody's on today. They're from.
Thank you, Adnan. Yes, maybe you can help him. I'm no one to talk about anybody's beard. At the same time, I'm also not a high-paid superstar in a major wrestling program.
Like, if I was getting paid that kind of money to do nothing, I'd be in the gym too.
I'd get implants. I get beard implants like AJ Styles.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, also I'm nowhere near as good looking as Humberto Carrillo. You don't need it, dude. You don't need it to look like more of a man. You've got those abs that could cut orange peels. Like, you're good, dude. And what I like about this is this subverted my thought last week. Last week, Humberto got beaten down, and we were talking about how, oh no, he's enhancement. This is a tragedy. The poor Humberto Carrillo. Remember when we thought he was going to be a blue chipper when we said he was like the next big thing, when he was awesome, and we thought he had all this bright future, and then he just got toasted after Paul Heyman left as creative of Monday Night Raw.
It's funny. You thought that about Carrillo. I thought that about Angel Garza. We were both wrong.
Angel Garza's flirting with your girl Nia Jax now, so I think Humberto Carrillo's doing a little bit better.
Fair.
At least now that he is now equaling Sheamus. He's going out there. He's beating down Sheamus and pissing Sheamus off. Could we see possibly a longer term feud between these two? Like, again, I don't think Carrillo's winning that feud. I'm realistic, but Sheamus is a good guy to have put somebody over and make them look good and have them earn respect for people in the back, because Sheamus is going to beat the crap out of this kid.
Look at all that work he did for Drew a few months ago.
That's what I'm saying.
Months ago. 6 weeks ago.
This gives me hope as someone who's had my eye on Carrillo ever since he was Ultimo Ninja. So this makes me excited. I have hope here. So another thing I'm going to put in the good file for this Raw.
Yeah, this was fantastic.
This was all right. We're doing some of Humberto Carrillo. Yeah. We didn't advance too much, but at least we subverted what happened last week. Humberto came out on top, something we haven't seen him do in a long time. As we said, he's looking shredded. I mean, if that doesn't impress Vince, I don't know what will. He's Sheamus's height, so nothing to do with size with this kid, and he's insanely athletic. So
he's definitely put on some bulk, some mass.
He has,
right? He used to be a skinny little shit. He's looking jacked now.
And you know what else? He showed something that I know Vince likes, and that is aggression.
Yep.
He had that John Cena with Kurt Angle, that AJ Styles bulldog mentality coming out there. That shit Vince likes. So
Swagger.
To me, this just feeling like a beast. Vince loves that. I hope that this impressed Vince. I hope that Vince liked what he saw here. I think this kid could make him a lot of money.
Humberto Carrillo versus John Morrison for the United States Championship down the road.
Stop it, Nick. Don't tickle my gristle. Oh, stop it. All right, I'm going to take you down off of Cloud 12 here, because it's time to talk about your girl, Nia Jax. So as we mentioned before, we had a 6-woman tag match. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, your women's tag team champions, alongside inexplicably, Rhea Ripley, who we can't decide if she's a heel or a face, mostly heel, I guess. She comes down the heel side of things more often than not, but doesn't always act like a heel. They're facing off against Asuka, Naomi, and Lana. The most colorful team you'll ever see this side of the Rockers circa 1994.
Or too cool.
Or too cool. Touche. Nick, I wanted to completely throw this out the window. And for the first major part of it, I did. You still had more of Shayna grousing at Nia for getting distracted while Nia was fending off Angel Garza on one side and Reggie on the other side. Rhea was just kind of there for all of this. She ends up, but here's the thing that actually, Nick, I gotta say, I have to appreciate, is that once we got past Mandy and Dana coming out and throwing water at Shayna, and then Nia Jax slipping in the pool of water and falling all over the place, and Pratt falling like crazy, and we go to commercial, and that's why Mandy ended up having to face Charlotte later as punishment. That stupid crap. We got past that. We came back from commercial, and I'll be goddamn, but we had an actual women's wrestling match. All the women got in. They got to wrestle. There was actually some good sequences. There was actually a wrestling match they had here. Do you think that there was enough actual, because this has been something we've been very critical of, is the last few weeks, is they've had all the pratfalls, all the dumb stuff, but they haven't actually had wrestling. Well, this week they gave it both to us. Does that absolve them of the dumb shit? No. Or does it at least kind of offset it a bit?
No, because if we obviously don't talk about how this all went down in order. This whole Mandy Rose stuff started with them coming out and throwing a bucket of water at Shayna Baszler. That's just as dumb as having her lose 27 weeks in a row. Number one, you're making her look like a chump because she didn't do anything about it. Who did something?
No, she was too busy.
Nia Jax did something about it and went backstage and took the flowers that Angel Garza had given her and threw them in Mandy Rose's face.
Swatter, find some water for this bitch, and that's why they brought him. That's why they brought the bucket. We found the water for the flowers.
So one halfway decent actual wrestling match that doesn't end up in Shayna getting rolled up doesn't undo the last 6 to 8 weeks of this. I'm going to take it back even further. We had to endure Lana going through a table for like 9 weeks in a row.
And then she eats the pin here.
So this at one, it wasn't that good. I don't know what in the world is going on around Nia Jax to have her not only consuming Reginald and Angel Garza, having Shayna Baszler, one of the most dominant NXT Women's Champions ever,
consuming,
right? Literally, right? She is all consuming of all of this. Now you've got Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke wrapped up in this shit, and now you've crowned a brand new. You talk about blue chip prospects. You've crowned a brand new Raw Women's Champion in Rhea Ripley.
Right.
And now you're consuming her with this bullshit Nia Jax antics as well. Not to mention Asuka, who looked like a wet puppy dog on the side of the ring.
So this comes back to my question with Charlotte, because there is something to say about Nia Jax being able to hold the center of attention in these bits, in these segments. Shayna, you and I are both fans of Shayna, but Shayna does not have the charisma and the ability to speak that Nia Jax does. It's a tough pill to swallow, but it's true.
It's accurate.
It is unfortunately accurate. Nia is a better promo than Naomi, than Lana. She's a better promo than I'd say Rhea. It can be better than Nia. I think Nia gets the entertainment part of sports entertainment more than Rhea does.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
It does.
So I think one of the reasons why, the only person who's like on her level with charisma and ability to pop through the screen is Asuka. And Asuka doesn't even speak English.
Who stood on the side of the ring for most of this match.
Right, unfortunately. But one of the reasons I think they're having Nia be the center of attention is because she's good on TV. She's not going to be the best. She's not the best wrestler. She's certainly not a fan favorite, which is why they're keeping her a heel. But she can fill a segment. And unfortunately, I think that's one reason why they're having her be the center of attention. I don't agree with it. I think they need to find other ways to feature the other women. But in terms of what WWE's product is, what Vince's product is, what he wants to put out there, Nia fits it the best. Nia is able to perform it the best in that sense. Now, it doesn't make for good TV for us because we don't want to see it, but I can see why they're choosing to have her be the center of attention here.
I'm not mad at Nia getting hers. I'm mad at how they're squandering Asuka, Rhea Ripley, Shayna,
Naomi,
Mandy Rose, for that matter. You know, there's Naomi.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much more you could do with any of those women than this kind of bullshit. It's so frustrating. That's the thing. Listen, Nia is going to be Nia, and that's her. She's typecast. That's her thing. But she has completely consumed all of these other prospects, and I don't understand it. Previously, it involved other women. They were doing this with the NXT Women's Tag Champions when they were. That's why they got their own belts now.
Right. But again, you know, if it's not Nia, it's going to be Charlotte. Someone is going to take up the time. Right. And it's going to be someone who typically is going to be able to hold a segment the way that WWE needs you to hold a segment.
What a shame.
So it is. I would definitely like them to give these women more on their own, except as opposed to just assuming they can't carry a segment on their own.
Let's throw them all on TV at the same time. That old adage
get them all
that we've
out,
been doing for years now.
But again, on the upside, at least they let them wrestle this week.
Sure.
And didn't just have the dumb stuff.
Sure.
So there's at least that.
Costanza threw in 100 bits, said Carrillo has the Joe Dirt beard going on. I don't know if it's that bad. It was extremely well groomed to the point that it looked fake.
It's too bad. He needs to have the Joe Dirt mullet instead.
That's true. Currently occupied by John Morrison.
He would actually have a really big Eddie Guerrero look going on there if he had that full-on mullet going.
Hey, there you go.
I'm just saying. I'm
waiting for
Eddie
Dominic
Guerrero
to grow his out.
Eddie Guerrero's mullet was magnifique.
Costanza threw in another 100 bits, said, I only have one thing to say. What the F was this? It was a whole bunch of shenanigans to take up time in a 3-hour show, is what it was.
Yep, it was fluff, it was filler, and it was not good.
Yep.
It was ugly. Yep. As a matter of fact, it was ugly.
The last thing we got to talk about on Raw is Lily.
Alexa Bliss. Mm-hmm. Alexa Bliss
Where's
decided
Bray? Time out.
Oh God.
Where's Bray?
I don't know.
I wanted to be excited about this when they first debuted Alexa Bliss in the Swamp match last summer in the black lace. I had the moment, and I've ridden this out for the better part of a year, and it's gone absolutely nowhere other than what we saw with the return of the Fiend at WrestleMania. And in the last 3 weeks, it has gone absolutely nowhere other than introducing Lily as this childhood doll. So it completely undid everything that we thought that the Fiend had this trance on Alexa Bliss or something, that she was embodying Sister Abigail. We didn't really know. But now it completely undoes that everything that we thought that the Fiend had done to her by introducing a doll.
Yeah, he's been possessed by this doll since she was little, and Bray just kind of unlocked it or something. And then she's like, I didn't really need him all along. I'm not liking where this is going. A creepy little girl and creepy little doll horror died about 15 years ago, guys. You're a little late. You're a little late on this one. Yeah. In addition, like, some of the things that they tried to pull here were cute, having Alexa go, look into my eyes, and then she talks about you think about all these mean things, and then she says, now think of peaceful things. And I did laugh at this. They start cutting to like images of like rocks stacked by a lakeside and birds flying in the sky and beautiful trees and a flower waving at sunset. And then all of a sudden Lily pops up in the screen and goes, ah!
Jump scares.
Little
We've
jump
resorted
scare.
to jump scares.
It was cute, but it was not in the bigger picture. I didn't think it was this wasn't good. This was not a good segment. It boils down to, once again, Alexa saying the same thing as last week. I'm coming for the women's division. Everyone should be scared. And like I was saying last week, I'm scared of what that's going to mean for the women's division.
Oh, she'll be in a feud with Nia Jax for the tag team championships. Her and Lily.
Oh God, stop. No, bad, Nick. Bad. Don't even say that. I think they'll keep her away from Nia Jax. Maybe. Who knows?
If you had asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said that about Rhea Ripley and being the new Raw Women's Champion. But nope.
As long as they keep her away from the championship. The same thing we said about Bray 2 years ago. Keep him away from the championship. And what do? Sent him right towards the championship, and that's where the crap started beginning.
Do I just need to accept the fact that this is not for me? That this is for the 12-year-olds?
But it's funny, Nick, because this was for us for a long time. We were all about the whole Alexa and Randy thing and the Fiend, like all of that. We were 100% in. What changed? What changed that now all of a sudden we're going, no, you guys have lost the train of thought. You guys have lost the plot here. You're going off on a path that is
they jumped the shark.
Not working.
They've completely forgotten about the thing that got them there in the first place.
Sure. What was the jump the shark moment, though? Because jumping the shark, referring to Happy Days when Fonzie jumped the shark, that was the moment when Happy Days died as a show. What is the jump the shark moment for this Alexa Bliss
thing? I think it's the doll. I think it's the introduction of the doll and the undoing of our perception that Bray or the Fiend had control over Alexa Bliss. So you could argue that it was the moment that she turned. I'm doing air quotes and saying loosely turned on the Fiend at WrestleMania at the end, which never went anywhere. We never got any explanation of that, what that was.
Right.
It's a doll.
I agree with you. It wasn't that moment. It was a dumb idea to have the Fiend lose that match.
Totally.
If he had won that match, if he just beaten down Randy Orton and Randy had slunk off to the back with his tail between his legs and he had to go find Matt Riddle to revive his career, that would have been a good story.
Totally. And we could have had that moment between the Fiend and Bliss sitting atop the Jack in the Box.
But you could have had Bliss betray him after the match somehow, have her distract him, and Randy gives an RKO and then runs away. And then we have our cathartic moment, and then we still have this plot twist, and then go into this Bliss thing, and it would have worked out fine. They didn't do that. They screwed it up. That's going to go down as one of the major screw-up points that they had in Bray's career, and they have many. But I agree with you that the moment that this all went off the rails was when they said that Alexa Bliss was no longer part of the Fiend's universe, really. She had her own little horror universe off to the side, and it's that path split. When I agree, when you bring in the doll and say that she's not really affiliated with Bray, that her own little gimmick isn't affiliated with Bray, or it wasn't affiliated, but you try to retcon things.
Yeah, all of a sudden I question, like, what have I been watching the last 9 to 12 months?
Exactly. And that's really that's the problem. When you're a horror movie fan, like myself, one of the things that we always say in horror movies is you have to stick to your own laws. Yeah. The horror movies all have very strict laws. When they fall apart, the place that the horror movies become crap is if you disobey your own laws of logic. And you can have the most out there, crazy concepts in the world as long as there is a baseline logic that you follow. When you go against your own logic, that's when things fall apart. And this is a great example. Like if you make Jason somehow magical, right? If he's able to invade other people's bodies, like in Jason Goes to Hell, it's stupid. He's not supernatural in that way. He's just a big dumb zombie. He's a super zombie, right? He's not a spirit or anything like that. When you take Alexa Bliss and say, oh no, everything we told you up to now is wrong, she's this other thing, it invalidates it pulls the rug out from underneath us, and we're forced to evaluate her on the premise that we're now given, and it's very flimsy and thin, and it doesn't work, especially in context with the Fiend, which it feels like a pale imitation of, and it's not as exciting, it's not as engaging, it's not as interesting, and as a result, it's a letdown.
You know what the scary part of this is?
Well, certainly not Lily.
I wonder if you can go to WWEshop.com and buy a Lily doll.
If it hasn't happened yet, it will. Remember how much they merchandised the Fiend when he came out?
Yeah.
Just a matter of time.
Yep. That's the sad, scary part. I miss Bray. I feel bad for Bray. I don't know what's going on with Bray. Is JoJo having another kid? I don't know. Is he taking time off? I don't know. That triumphant return that was absolutely amazing at WrestleMania, for the record, coming up out of the Jack in the Box, reformed like that. It looked incredible. It was a great moment. We had a better experience watching it at home because we were surprised by it. I feel bad for the people that were there and saw them wheeling this box out down the ramp.
Only thing they didn't do was have him get lost in the maze, kind of like the weekend at the Super Bowl.
Right.
He's lost and can't find his way out. Yeah. That'd be great. No?
Like reference to Jericho trying to find his way to the ring.
You're right though. Maybe JoJo is pregnant again so that he can have another kid. Name him Shred with 2 D's to go along with Kanash.
Kanash.
But that was Raw. That was Raw. The good, the bad, and the ugly of Raw. I gotta say, Nick, in my opinion, it was better than the last few Raw. I'd say it's probably the best Raw in over a month. I know it's not saying much, but maybe even more than a month.
Because they've dragged the bar as absolutely low as they possibly can.
Yeah,
at least I could stomach this one. So it was good, I guess.
As I said on Facebook, even Chihuahuas are bigger than a Pomeranian. So.
Oh boy.
But we got to catch up on everything.
No, we're good. We're caught up. Let's go talk about something fun. All right.
Well, then let's go, Nick. Let's do it. Let's talk about something else that happened this last weekend. Big deal. Things went down over on Impact Rebellion.
Are we saving the good bit till the end, or are we starting off with it?
My notes are clear.
Oh,
we go.
Okay.
We go by the notes. Let's talk about something big to start off with, though. There was a big debut, as we mentioned on our last show where we previewed Impact Rebellion. Eric Young is injured. He's out 6 to 9 months with an ACL tear. But on the Go Home show, they promoted that he was going to be in this match because they had pre-taped it before his injury. Whoops. So we knew he was going to have a replacement. We had no indication of who it was. So out comes Violent by Design. Joe Doring, Diener, Rhino, they all come out to the ring. Eric Young's at the top of the ring, and he introduces his replacement. W. Morrissey.
What?
Formerly known as Big Cass.
Well.
Who looks like he ate Enzo and has been doing sit-ups constantly for the last 9 months.
He's been on that DDP train.
Dude is swole. He's got his individual abdominal muscles are bigger than my head. Boy is big.
There's if I can have a moment to talk about something that's real. Big Cass has gone through some shit.
Yes,
and just being real, he has been suffering with depression for a long time, even through the moments that he and Enzo were coming up and exploding on Monday Night Raw. Took the tag team division in NXT by storm, took Raw tag team division by storm, and even throughout all of that, depressed. And when they got let go, he was going through. There were some pictures they showed of his like old hotel rooms where I lost count of how many wine bottles were on the floor. There might have been 50 plus bottles of wine that he was going through. He went down a deep alcoholic depression, and a random guy. He describes it as a random. There's a great video of this out there, if you guys haven't seen it yet, of him telling this story. DDP found him. And pulled him out just like he did with Jake Roberts.
Does it all the time.
Pulled him out of the hole, and it was absolutely fantastic. And I'm so happy for Cass. I think this is freaking-tastic.
Yeah, I have a feeling he's going to go on a tour now, go around and tell everyone that he wronged, that I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I can't get over the Morrissey name. Yeah. I can't. Yeah. Every time I see him now, I automatically just have girlfriend in a coma stuck in my head.
Kyle said Big Cass looked like Giant Edge.
He did. That's a great way of putting it. Giant Edge who just hanged the DJ.
Yes.
So that was a surprise entrant coming into this. As you would expect, they ended up winning the match against James Storm, Chris Sabin, Eddie Edwards, and Willie Mack. But yeah, W. Morrissey's in the Impact Zone. What's he doing there? How long is he going to be there for? Is he officially a member of Impact now? Is he a member of Violent by Design? It appears so.
I hope so.
Very exciting. I think that's a big that's a big pull for Impact right there. He could be a big player over there if he's got his ish together and his head screwed on straight, which it seems like he does. I mean, I really do think this charming man has a chance.
I do. I really do. I have nothing else to say. I have so much hope for Cass. Or more. I have to call him Morrissey now.
Yes. W. Morrissey.
Yes.
Because it's based on his real name. Okay. We also had a scary injury in a match. Brian Myers versus Matt Cardona. And Cardona did a leapfrog, came over, and his knee did something really nasty. And it's his surgically repaired knee, too. Some questioned whether it was a work or not. Cardona did say, no, my kneecap popped off. They had to put my kneecap back in place. It was, if that was a sell, that's the most realistic sell I've ever seen. That dude looked like he was in excruciating pain. Refs had to check on him. That X was thrown up right away. Brian Myers backed off, and they ended the match really quickly. They had Cardona say he was good to go. Myers comes over, goes to shake his hand, help him up, and it says, oh, yeah, it's cool. It looked like they're going to get back. The friends are going to reunite. It's all good. Water under the bridge. Everything's forgiven. No! That bastard Brian Myers, big clothesline, takes him out, gives him the roster cut finisher. 1, 2, 3. Myers wins the match, and looks like the feud will continue. I loved this. I loved that Cardona sucked it up and got a finish out of it. It was a perfect finish. Considering that he was injured, it made it look even more dastardly that Brian Myers did that. It was great. Good stuff, and props to him for sucking it up and making it through the end of this.
Yeah.
But good stuff. Looking forward to seeing more of that. We also had Trey Miguel in a last man standing match with Sami Callihan. They went all over the place. Ultimately, Callihan could not answer the 10 count, slipping down on the 9. Trey Miguel wins this. I'm not really sure what they were going for with this. Sami Callihan's trying to show Trey Miguel how to make his anger into a weapon, and that wasn't really the story of this match. So that was odd.
Yeah.
But wasn't a bad match.
I wasn't really sure what the story of the match was supposed to be. And frankly, that's my own ignorance. I don't do very well keeping up with Impact. I haven't to date. It's something that I want to get back into, but there's only so many hours in the week for me.
Sure, but as the go home match of this, like it should tell you that. You should figure out what it is as you watch it, and the fact that it didn't communicate that.
Yeah.
And even I'm following the story, and even I'm like, you guys didn't really like sell the point that you're trying to make with this. Was kind of the issue I had with it. But again, nitpicking, it was still a good match. Also, Rachel Ellering stepped in with Jordan Grace to fill Jazz's shoes in a tag match against the champs, Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan. The champs no more. Your new Knockouts tag champions, Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering. Looks like another NXT alum in Rachel Ellering. Good call for her to go to Impact, where she is now a champ as well, when she was getting no opportunities in NXT.
I thought that was one of the worst let goes that they did. She came out hot, had so much potential, had blue, just like Deonna Purrazzo. Just another one of those that I feel like they squandered. I don't know why, but I had high hopes for Rachel Ellering in NXT. But oh well. Congratulations to Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering. Yep,
absolutely. I still say Jordan Grace is one of their biggest weapons.
Yep,
over
agreed.
there. I think she's fantastic.
Yep.
Another person I think is one of their secret weapons, Josh Alexander, was in a match for the X Division title against Ace Austin, your champ, and TJP. Ace Austin, your champ, no longer. Even Madman Fulton outside the ring couldn't help him. Josh Alexander was relentless, ultimately getting the win. He threw TJP out of the ring, got Ace Austin in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3. Now Josh Alexander is your new X Division champ. I think it's a great way to elevate the dude after the North broke up. That's a guy I could see being your Impact champion down the road at some point.
Yeah, totally. He's definitely got the potential.
Dude is big. He's smart. He's a great wrestler. I absolutely think this is a great next step for him back into singles.
Jay Wolf just threw in 100 bits and totally made me my nipples pop out. Can we please get Sami Callihan versus Moxley?
In some sort of crazy stipulation match. I mean, I don't know if we're going to get much crazier than Moxley versus Nick Gage, which we're getting coming up.
Oh, wow.
But because at the CZW Tournament of Death, about 2 weeks ago now, Moxley came out at the end and challenged Nick Gage, which that was where Nick went. Yeah. That needs to be put in my eye holes. Although I'm scared of getting broken glass in my eye holes. If you put that in my eye holes.
You're going to get a light tube right down your eye hole.
Yeah. I'd like to see Sami Callihan in a program with Moxley more than I want to see the actual matches.
We're doing all this crossover with Impact. It makes a lot of sense.
Why not, right? And I think Sami could be used better, too. He's kind of perma mid upper card. He's been the champ. He's done it, but he just kind of then he goes down to these smaller feuds. So, yeah.
Jay added on the stipulation is a first to die match.
First to die is the winner?
No.
Wait, what? How's that going to work?
Is that kind of like playing Rochambeau? I guess first I kick you in the nuts, and then you kick me in the nuts.
Got to get some red bandanas for him.
Right.
Tie him
up. There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jay.
Click. Next up, we had Deonna Purrazzo, who you mentioned earlier. She was facing off against Tennille Dashwood, another lady done dirty by WWE, in a beautiful match. Beautiful for the Knockouts Championship.
Match.
So damn good. They're actually letting these women go out there and proper wrestle.
God, it's so nice when it's actually done right, and it's not this divas crap that we're seeing a lot of again on WWE. This just gave me hope. I was so excited to see this match, and it delivered. It absolutely delivered. Congrats to Deonna as well for having the amazing career she's having since leaving.
Yeah, and Tennille as well. I mean, This is a match that showcased that these women were being wasted. And when we talk about how NXT is the best women's division, it's only because of the numbers game. They have so many talented women in the Impact. They are the number 2 right now in terms of their women's division. It's insane. And most of the rest of the division was standing ringside for this match. You had Susan, not Sue Young right now. Susan was ringside alongside Kimber Lee was ringside. And of course, Caleb with a K was hanging out there to be for Tennille. But again, this was a showcase of, hey, look, it's not just the WWE women, the NXT women that can wrestle. We can put on some great matches too. It's not just because they have some great ones over in AEW as well. But Deonna's proving why they should have strapped her right away when she came to Impact.
Yeah, and
she's a great champ.
Jay just put one in the chat. Didn't throw bits in, but I called it out. He gives a good point. When did Impact get the Rockstar Women's Division? Dude, are you forgetting that Tessa Blanchard was the Impact World Champion? We had Taya Valkyrie, we had Jordan Grace. We've now got Deonna Purrazzo, and we've had Tennille Dashwood there for a while. It's been this good for a long time. It wasn't until Slammiversary last fall where people started putting eyes back on Impact. And now we've got the AEW crossover stuff happening. There's a lot of eyes on Impact again.
You could even argue that Impact had, or back when it was TNA, they had a women's division that blew WWE's out of the water. You had Gail Kim putting on classics.
There you go.
When WWE was having mud wrestling matches.
Oh, Velvet Sky.
Braun panties. Oh. So TNA's been ahead of the curve in the women's division for years. Yeah. But they definitely, the modern iteration of it for the last 2 years has been getting better and better and better. And it's going to only get better now that there's some free market women recently released from WWE. If they play their cards right, they might be able to get even more good women in there.
Before there was Toni Storm, ladies and gents, there was Velvet Sky and the TNA Knockouts division.
For Nick, yes. Nick, holding a special place in Nick's heart and his shorts. Next up, we had FinJuice defending their titles against the Good Brothers. I have to admit, Nick, I 100% thought the Good Brothers were taken.
I did too.
I thought that FinJuice was just going to have the title for a cup of coffee and give it right back. The fact that they straight up, no shenanigans, beat the Good Brothers again, I was shocked. End of this match totally flabbergasted me. And I'm very into it. I'm not as into Juice's hair. I don't know what the hell's going on there. I'm
trying to tell you guys I don't know what she sees in him, but whatever.
Tony's got to regulate on that shit.
I guess, yeah.
She needs to regulate.
Yeah.
He looks like what Sam Roberts would do if he had actual hair.
Right.
It's scary,
yeah.
But he's a champion, and that match, if you want to see it, is actually for free on New Japan World right now because they are still New Japan wrestlers.
As an interesting twist, could they take the Impact Tag Championships back to New Japan, fight the Gorillas of Destiny for them? Gorillas of Destiny come back and fight the Good Brothers. Tom will have been wanting to come over.
Oh, Nick. Oh, God. I like the sound of that. But it is interesting to note that after our main event, which was Kenny Omega versus Rich Swann, a match which pretty much nobody thought Rich Swann was going to win. And they were right. Kenny Omega pretty much dominated the poor guy. Rich put up a good fight, but it was definitely an underdog babyface against a god.
Yes.
A wrestling god.
This is god tier Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
That we have not seen in 3 or 4 years, at least.
Slaughter horse Kenny Omega destroying poor Rich Swann here. That means all the major titles now, well, at least the top 2 major titles, top 2 major men's titles in Impact, owned by people from other companies. Kenny Omega, belt collector, prophecy come true. He's with AEW. He holds their top championship, the unified championship, by the way. Rich Swann just unified the championship against Moose. So now the TNA and Impact heavyweight championships belong to Kenny Omega. and the tag championships belong to New Japan. So Impact is playing some interesting games here. Now, I know between Scott D'Amore and especially Don Callis, they've got ties in both companies. But that's an odd game to play to try to get eyes on your product. You are playing a very dangerous game to try and leverage your company's top titles to get more views. It's working. This pay-per-view had enormous buys. It had bigger buys than any WCW pay-per-view after 2000.
Wow.
So big buys.
Damn.
For this pay-per-view.
Now,
but,
are they going to stay when Finjuice goes back to New Japan and Kenny comes back to AEW? Are people going to keep watching Impact weekly?
This is the question. Can they retain? I mean, of all the people that I've seen give reviews of this pay-per-view, trying to get as many casuals as I can, it mostly seemed like people were impressed with what they saw, right? People coming in and not really knowing the product, seeing it for the first time. They put on a damn good show.
Yeah, they did.
To try to get people to stick around. So if people don't stick around, it's not for lack of Impact trying.
True.
It's not like, Impact said, hey, come watch our product, and they put on a crap show. It's not like they said, hey, come watch our show, and then at the end, a ring didn't explode. They actually put on a really good show.
This feels more like Don coming to Scott and going, hey, I got an idea.
It sounds like a lot of people have their
something.
Ideas here.
Yeah.
And it's a crazy, wild idea, and I'm along for the ride.
Same.
I'm all in.
Hard same. I want to see where this goes. I want to see how big this forbidden door gets opened. We had Jericho on Stone Cold talking about some of these opportunities when he was talking about going to Japan, and then he was then he got signed by AEW, and both of the times he talked to Vince about it and got good looks and go get him, pal, and all that stuff. So I mean, there's with Jericho in the mix of this having ties also to New Japan. I'm seeing this three-way thing forming here that we've speculated on almost as crazy prophecy in the past, but now it's looking like it could actually come to fruition.
Once trans-Pacific travel becomes easily and readily available again, and entering into other countries becomes a bit of a smoother process, that's when I think business is really going to pick up.
When we hear the coin drop on Wednesday night on Dynamite for the first time, we are all going to internally implode.
We've been saying that for years. Yeah, when it happens.
When that happens, and we get Kenny Omega versus Okada 2.0, we are all, our heads are going to explode like that dude from Scanners. Like it's just, we're going to be done. It is going to be the biggest thing in wrestling. It's going to go back to 2000 Rock and Stone Cold. Like I
will happily be there being Michael Ironside when that happens. But in the meantime, Nick, it is that time for our final segment of the show. That's right. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, for something we like to call our moment of positivity. The mop, the moment of positivity. That's right. It's the time on the show where we think back over the last few days of wrestling and we come up with something that made us happy. Sometimes in this show, we can be a bit negative. We can get a bit down, get a bit crabby about what we're seeing. But we want to counteract that with a little dose of positivity at the end of the show, something to make us smile, something to hopefully make you smile, something to put a little bit of happiness back out into the world. Nick, what was your moment of positivity for this week?
I think it was the tomatoes.
Really?
I think it was the tomatoes.
The tomatoes?
I thought the tomatoes were hilarious. But I have a big inner child that is childish. He threw tomatoes at its face.
Well, they're playing right to you.
They are. They totally are. I don't think it was the best way to use Damian Priest, but they continue to put him in angles with guys that they can they consider top stars. People that are known for getting other people over, and they're putting Damian Priest over in a very big way. He is looking very good. I can't wait for that dude to get into a proper program. We'll see where it goes, but I'm very happy with what they're doing with Priest right now. But
if they get Priest, and Sheamus after Carrillo's done.
Yes. Oh my God!
Yes,
Celtic
please.
Warrior versus Punishment Martinez. Yes.
Uh-huh.
I'll sign up for that. Yes.
Mr. Priest, I thought you might. I thought you'd be down for that. You really want to take 10 beats of the Bower, Mr. Priest?
You bet your sweet ass I do.
Oh, hey, there it is, right from the man himself. All right. The tomatoes. I'm shocked at that. I mean, it is kind of, like I said, it felt a little bit like the modern beer truck.
Yeah.
Can't get a beer truck and then whip some tomatoes around.
And it's the New Day. They have a way of elevating things too, in that respect. Pancakes and whatever the cereal and booty-os and all that. Why not tomato-os? Tomatoes. Just have something.
Tomato-os.
Tomato-os.
Yes.
Are they going to bring out tomatoes now?
Tomato-flavored breakfast cereal. That sounds like a great idea, Nick.
Right.
Basically, it's just going to turn into ketchup in your milk.
Right. Ketchup cereal.
Ketchup.
And you know who's going to present it? I'll present it. Adnan Vuk. Tomato-os from Post.
New from New Day.
New from Post. The all-new New Day Tomato-os.
That's right.
Part of a complete breakfast.
Roma tomatoes. Plucked locally, sourced nationally. That's right. Adnan Vuk for Tomato-os. God, kill me. My mop was RK Bro.
Yeah.
I cried. I literally had tears running down my face at just the very first couple of lines between Randy Orton and Matt Riddle. I had to stop it, pause it, because I was laughing too hard. I am so into this. I will watch Raw with a smile on my face, just waiting for an RK Bro segment. That's where it's at right now. Everyone who's down on Raw right now, that is it. I'm here for RK Bro. If at the top of the show we had, there it is. The top of the show, we were getting condolences on having to watch Raw every week, and I'm telling you, it's stuff like this that makes it so I can pull it off.
Yeah.
It's I'm waiting for the RK Bros. This is what it makes it all worth it. So, we have to do any catching up, sir. How are we doing?
Yeah.
Also that reminds me, real quick. Yeah. They just said in the chat, Mauro Ranallo calling Rebellion was very nearly. If it hadn't been for RK Bro, that was my mop until last night. Was Mauro being back doing wrestling and calling a Kenny Omega match? I
am guilty of allowing what Mauro calling a match felt like.
Mm-hmm.
And I am guilty of forgetting what that felt like.
So good.
God,
he lends an air.
But now we've got Adnan Vuk. We couldn't have Mauro Ranallo, so we got Adnan Vuk selling tomatoes from Post. The best tomatoes you'll ever find.
Ripe and juicy. Hold them in your hand and juggle them around.
Oh, poor Tom Phillips.
Poor Tom Phillips. But yes, nice to have Mauro back.
Yes.
Let's do some catching up.
Esme threw in 100 bits. Said, did Rich seem gassed or tired by the end of the match to you?
Yes, and I couldn't tell if it was selling or if he'd taken a bonk on the head. There was a rumor going around that he got concussed about halfway through the match. He came down weird on a move. He definitely
looked like he took a stiff V-trigger too at one point.
Yeah, well, he also is. You can never tell with those V-triggers, but he did botch on the turnbuckle at the one point. He did not seem like his normal Rich Swann self. Yeah. And I couldn't tell if that was him selling or if he did actually get bonked. We haven't heard from an injury report afterwards if he actually got knocked a bit silly in the match. Frankly, if he didn't get knocked silly, then that's a poor performance on his part. It was not, or at least not his best performance, not his best work. It seemed like he was a bit of a step behind. But if he was actually bonked, then props to him for finishing the match.
Yeah, totally. Thank you, Esme, for the 100 bits.
Thank you. Thank you, Don.
Well, there you go, guys. There's Raw and some breakdown of what went down on Impact Rebellion. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be back after our outro, after we take a quick break, and do our weekly AMA show known as the Patron Mailbag. So, patrons, heads up. You got about 10 to 15 minutes to sneak your question in. If you haven't submitted it yet, head over there. The post is available. But for those of you that would like to get your questions in every single week, patreon.com/BWO is the place to go. All you got to be in is that $5 tier per month, and you can get a question in every single week, plus audio versions of every single episode, copy the show notes of every single episode, and the ability to play in our Patron Pick'ems Championship, which the next one will be...
SummerSlam.
Oh, it's Dubstep Rob, I guess. So that's going to be an interesting thing we have to talk about. We declared Chris White the WrestleMania winner, so is Chris White defending the WrestleMania championship, or is it the Grand Champion defending? Does the Grand Champion hold it for the entire year? We have to talk about that. We got time. We'll figure that out.
We should have probably
should have thought about that before I started talking about that and opened my mouth. We'll see how that works out. But yeah, if you want to compete in the SummerSlam pick'ems, all you got to be in is that $5 tier as well. It's the best way to support the show. Lots of good exclusives for you to get into over there. Plus bonus episodes every month at the $10 tier. New one coming this Thursday. And it's going to be a fun one, so you won't want to miss out.
That's going to be a fun one, man. Oh, it's also the fun thing about this Thursday is it actually is setting us up for next month when we're going to have our anniversary specials. We're going to have an anniversary special show and a special anniversary episode, a bonus episode for you patrons.
Yes.
So a couple of good patron episodes coming up soon. So if you're not a patron, now's the time to sign up.
Indeed. Since you brought it up, Ian, yes, we got some good stuff coming. New merch, new graphics, new everything. New look here on the stream. All kinds of good stuff. May 21st. Mark your calendars. Friday. I think it's Friday. Friday, May 20th. Yes, I'm not lying. Friday, May 21st. Nice. I got it right the first time. Mark your calendars. You won't want to miss that one live right here on Twitch, YouTube, and or Facebook, wherever you'd like to watch. We will be unveiling all kinds of good stuff. So it will be our big anniversary, 4-year anniversary show here. I can't wait for it to get here. We just got a lot of work to do. Lastly, also on Thursday, on top of your bonus episode, we will be guesting.
Yep.
We'll be guesting on Going In Raw's interview show. As we won the competition for WrestleMania Pick'ems between Going In Raw.
I think they're just being nice and extending us the interview. I don't think it's actually because we won, but I think it's just they're just being nice.
I'm going to pretend. I'm going to tell myself at night that it's because we won.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because
whatever you have to do to sleep.
I'll sleep better and I'll get to gloat a little bit.
Pat yourself on the back.
I don't get to do that very often with you. Allow me the moment. Once every other year.
It's because you beat all of us for the 3rd year in a row that we're going to be on Going In Raw this Thursday.
See?
Okay?
That's nice.
There you go, buddy.
So take all your Pick'ems wins of the last year. Turn that ball them up real nice. Turn them some bitches sideways. I'm just kidding.
Can you turn a ball sideways?
You can, actually, because most ball... Never mind. Let's not get into geometry and physics.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today on BWO. Don't go anywhere if you're watching live. We will be back in about 10 minutes, about, let's say, 5 till.
Yeah, 5 till.
We'll be back. 5 till. We'll be back with the Patron Mailbag episode where we answer all of your questions.
Yes.
And I understand we have some good ones today, Nick.
Indeed.
So I'm looking forward to that. So stick around.
Yes, but until then, my name is Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at DataCenterDude.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Ian Dangerous.
But by God!
Somebody stop the damn match!
This show is part of the Orbital Jigsaw Network. For more episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. For details and show notes from each episode, check us out, orbitaljigsaw.com.
This is the limitless Keith Lee.
This is Brody King.
This is Angel Garza.
Will Ospreay.
Hornswoggle.
Pentagon.
Junior.
The villain, Marty Skell.
The Mexican Rey Fenix.
King Ricochet.
Concrete Rose, Sunny Kiss.
And I'm here to ask you to stop what you're doing. Take just one moment and bask in the glory of the busted wide open.
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 Boston wide open.
Busted wide open podcast.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous. Coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California. Welcome everybody to BWO Live, coming to you from across the BWO universe of YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. This is the Patron Mailbag episode number 79. My name is Nick Howell.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous, and yes, we're here to answer the questions that y'all have sent in over on patreon.com/BWO. All you have to do is sign up for one of our lovely reward tiers, and you too can send us questions and have them answered right here on this very show right now today, which of course is Tuesday. If you're watching us live, we do this right after our normal Tuesday show. That show starts at 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern. This show starts right after, usually about 6:30/9:30 or 7/10, depending on how long we bloviate on Raw. But it's going on right now, and everyone who's in the chat right now, welcome and thank you for joining us. Everyone on all across, as you say, the universe, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. My goodness, Nick, we're everywhere. We just keep on growing. We just keep on growing.
We just do.
Just like an Alabama tick sucking on your neck.
Oh, no, not like that at all. God, I'm not.
Dug in deeper than an Alabama tick.
I understand the reference. I understood that reference.
Yes. But welcome to the show, everybody. We're here to answer your questions. We're very much looking forward to it. Nick, do you want to give some business, or should we just go right into the question?
Linktree.com/BWO is where you find all the links to all of our stuff. Again, mark your calendars in case you didn't hear on the last show. May 21st will be our super duper fantastic 4-year anniversary special. May 21st, that'll be a Friday night immediately after SmackDown, usually about 10:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll try and get a little bit of an early start that night because it's going to be fun. We're going to have all kinds of new stuff, launching new graphics, new merch, new stream layouts, new all kinds of good stuff. We're giving it a good old complete overhaul and a relaunch right here on Busted Wide Open. So you won't want to miss that show. So you can watch it on Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, whichever you prefer. We'll also be unveiling some new stuff over on YouTube. So if you miss us over on YouTube and you would like to get some of the same benefits that those that watch on Twitch do, and you just prefer to watch us on YouTube, you absolutely can. We'll be unveiling sub tiers just like we have here on Twitch, and along with super chats, you can contribute to the show just like you do on Twitch. So that's all coming as well. All kinds of fun new stuff over on YouTube, and we are just really growing the show this year. So we're excited. I hope you guys are excited as well. But Ian, let's get to some questions because there's some good ones this week.
Ooh, I look forward to it.
No more of the dally-dillying.
No. Let's do it.
Kicking us off yet again this week is the mop man himself, Mr. Moment of Positivity, Sean Clark. Thank you always for being up there, my man, kicking us off with some good vibes. This week he says, "Hello, gentlemen and phenomenal ones. Hope this message finds you well, healthy, and happy. Don't settle for less. You absolutely deserve those things. It's not always easy, and they aren't there all the time, so make sure whenever any of those things do find you, that you appreciate them and let them resonate." Indeed.
Thank you, sir.
Indeed.
Well played.
His question is, it's 5 years from now. I like this game. I like future. I like predicting future stuff. Who are your major men's and women's champions from the 3 WWE shows and AEW in 5 years?
Who are your champs? In 5 years, who are our major champs? Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and AEW.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go one by one. Let's go Raw.
Okay.
Raw and SmackDown. Who are the men's
WWE
champions?
champion in 5 years.
Okay, so men's champions, women's championships, and then we'll go over to AEW. Men's champions, Raw, SmackDown, NXT. In 5 years, who are your champs?
Is it too early to say WWE champion Roman Reigns?
In 5 years?
Yeah.
He's just still champ.
Well, I mean, he's Universal right now. He's been WWE in the past. I'm saying he eventually comes back around and ends up with it. I think within the next 5 years at some point, he will switch back and be the WWE champion.
He's still going to be the man in 5 years, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know what? Considering that we're talking about 3 different brands here, I don't think you're wrong that Roman Reigns might still be goddamn champ in 5 years. He probably will have lost it a few times, but he may get it back.
Yeah.
Like, that's not unrealistic. Other champions I could see being there: Big E, Damian Priest, Keith Lee. Although we'll see what happens with Keith Lee when he comes back. That's way kind of out there, nebulous still, if you will. Who else could be champ at that point? Seth could get the championship back again by that point. Trying to think who else is on that trajectory. I wonder if Kevin Owens will ever taste it again. I don't think so. My gut says no.
No.
My gut says no. Maybe like on a whim, kind of like they need it for storyline like Miz. Yeah, Lashley, maybe if they keep on this trend, Lashley could still do it. Drew could still do it. Of course, I think Drew, they're in for the long term with Drew. All the top guys right now in 5 years, like you think like wrestlers' careers last longer.
Yep.
These days. So 5 years isn't quite as long.
Like,
but
who were the champs 5 years ago? It was like Lesnar,
Reigns,
Reigns,
Ambrose, Rollins, Owens. You know what I mean? Like, we're not
that far
different.
removed from that.
No, not so much different from the scene today. Slight shift. Again, couple of new guys. That's why I threw in Priest and Lee.
I think Karrion Kross needs to be in that conversation.
If he
sticks around long enough.
Easily well. Yeah, sure. I think that's a strong possibility if everything goes right for him.
I think the women are making a case for themselves. I'm looking at Rhea. I'm looking at Raquel. I'm looking at Tony possibly. You know, there's all you've got that group of Bianca. You've got that group of girls that are in their mid to late 20s or hell mid 20s that they're going to be here going strong in 5 years. At a certain point,
sure, the
4 horsewomen of NXT are going to start hitting 40 5 years from now. Right. Most of them are in their early to mid 30s at this point.
So what about the women's division? That's what who's having the women's championship? Who's that?
I'm thinking Rhea Ripley, Raquel Gonzalez, Toni Storm, Bianca Belair. I think they're all still going to be in the conversation. They're still going to be your top ladies.
Yeah, I agree. Who's the next tier after that though? Who's like on the up and coming? Like, could Ember Moon have a resurgence? I don't think so.
No.
I don't think Shotzi's ever going to taste championship gold on the main roster either.
I think she could be NXT Women's Champion. Shotzi.
Yeah, I think Shotzi could be NXT Women's Championship, but within the next couple of years, maybe.
I think
here's the problem with NXT.
She could come up and be in a tag team, whether it's Ember or not. She could be in a tag team and have the WWE Women's Championships, tag team championships.
But here's the thing: if anybody that's in NXT right now is still in NXT in 5 years, you're going to wonder what happened, right? At this point, we kind of know why Undisputed Era didn't go to the main roster. It's because that's as big as they're going to get. Ciampa and Gargano will never go to the main roster because this is as big as they're going to get. There's not a lot of other people in NXT I feel that way about, where it's like they need to not leave NXT. Santos Escobar could be a big deal on the main roster. Kushida, he shouldn't be in WWE in 5 years unless he's getting gunned to the top, and I don't see that happening at this point. No. I don't think that there's. I don't think it's there.
The new blue chipper that just showed up, Zoe Stark.
Zoe Stark could be she could be, but in 5 years, she's already been gunned to the top so much. She's already in everything. Like, I don't know. As far as the men's side, Parker Boudreaux, they're hearing a lot of big things about him. I see no reason why he couldn't be a big deal. In 5 years, that sounds like the right time frame for him to get 3 to 5 years. get all his pieces lined up. As far as the women's side, that's a tough one.
Yeah, the next, I mean, who's coming up after Raquel and Rhea? I mean, you've got Indy Hartwell's there.
Yeah.
Jessica Mea. Whoever swole Billy Kay is that just showed up. What's her name?
I'm spacing.
It's like super hybrid B. Priestley Billy Kay. Dakota has been there for 4 years. Yeah, Kyle, that's it. She still hasn't gotten anywhere near gold, though. I mean, she's had some matches, sure, but there's never been an opportunity where we legit felt like she was going to take it and hold it for a reign. I mean, I guess that's just me personally. I don't want to project, but I've never had that feeling that Dakota Kai was going to be a champion. Thank you, Steph DeLander. That's her name.
Steph DeLander.
Thank you.
God, it was killing me. I knew there's 3 names.
She's got gold written all over her. That's if she can get in there and wrestle and cut a good promo. I'm 50-50 on LA Knight right now. I think he could potentially have a main roster run in him. Old Eli Drake.
Yeah.
But
the 5 years out is the tough one.
Yeah. 5 years from now, he's going to be getting up there. So
Bronson Rechsteiner as well. Rick Steiner's kid.
That's a good one. I thought you were saying some funny name for Bronson Reed there for a second.
No, that's his name.
I do think our boy Jonah Rock could come up and have a good run on the main roster as a big boy. You know?
It's funny because he's just not, when it comes to big guys, he's not as big as the big guys of old. You know what I mean? I don't even think he's as big as Otis.
He's about Otis's size. He's in that lower 300s. He's in that 320, 330 mark.
Like from when we saw him a while back, he's lost a lot of weight since then. So I don't know. I'd like to see him do really well because I think he's got a lot of talent beyond just being, big guy. But yeah. Oh, what about AEW? Who do you see? Who's the men's champ in 5 years in AEW?
Wow. MJF is an easy answer.
They have such a class.
It's
young up and comers.
So many. Ricky Starks comes to mind.
Jungle Boy.
Jungle Boy.
He could absolutely be champ in 5 years. Jungle Man.
Hangman Page.
Page. I feel like he'll be champ sooner rather than later.
They just keep climbing Kenny's mountain higher and higher, and I wonder how long this is going to go. When are they going to peak? They're not anytime soon. It's not looking like they're slowing down.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure how long it's going to take, but I think they could spend the next 12 to 18 months climbing that peak and telling the downward fall story of leading up to the Hangman feud, leading back to that, unless we get a coin drop on Dynamite one day and that Forbidden Door gets mule kicked wide open, and then all hell breaks loose.
Well, that's
you could have Kazuchika Okada be AEW champion within the next 5 years.
But that's within the next couple of years. But I'm saying like within the next 5, Sammy Guevara be one I'd throw in there. Another guy.
Is AEW champion? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Abs 100%.
Yeah.
I'll go on record and say he will be AEW champ, barring something big. Sammy Guevara absolutely will be AEW champ at some point.
By God.
And it could be about 5 years. By God. What about women's champ in 5 years?
That's tough because they're just now kind of figuring it out.
Agreed.
I look at Chris Statlander again. I'm looking at the girls that are in their mid.
You always look at Chris Statlander.
No, it's not about my fanboying over her. I'm looking at the girls that are in their mid 20s. Like who are going to be the big stars in their 30 mark, 30 to 35. Britt Baker is right there. She's in her early 30s already, I believe. She's 31, I think. Yeah. But she's easily going to be women's champion probably this year. She's probably the next women's champion, frankly.
That's what I'm saying. We're talking 5 years out. I personally don't think they have that class yet.
I don't either.
They haven't built their 5 year out women's class yet. I think that there may be a woman there who could possibly get her ish together in time for that. What's the one woman, Cody's protege?
Red Velvet.
From the Nightmare Factory. No. There's the other one. Sparks, something like that. Let me try and look her up here. Try to remember her name.
Oh yeah, that's
she's
a good
got injured.
One.
She got injured recently.
Who said that one? Yeah, several people said Johnny Hungy. Absolutely, I think he could.
I don't think he'll ever be champ, but he might get
I think
TNT.
he could get TNT championship though, but not AEW championship.
Dang it!
What are you hung up on?
Name? I'm trying to remember her name. She's a Nightmare Factory. She's one of Cody's proteges. And he was really high on her recently, and then she got injured in one of her first matches.
The one that shaved her head?
No.
Lily something? I can't remember what her name was. She was on for like 2 weeks.
They're saying Jade Cargill.
No.
Is I think within that's within the next couple of years. She's coming quick. She's gonna be.
Oh yeah, that's
quick.
sooner than later. Again, I'm not sure. Like I think Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa are going to be the next big feud in the women's division, and I'm here for it. Just make that a Kenny Omega style reign. Make Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker just be one of your main things. We've gone through reigns of Riho, transitional championship with Nyla Rose, and we've had Sheeta now for a long time. Britt Baker needs to hold it, and I want to see her just absolutely go to war with Thunder Rosa. We've gotten that already, and that's what scares me is that they'll think that they already got that, and they won't give it to us again. But I think we could run it back.
Brooke
Havoc. Yes. Okay. Yep.
So
thank you, Joel, in YouTube called it out.
Yep. There you go. So I feel like the woman who's going to be champ in 5 years, or like basically what Sean's gunning at, we haven't seen her really yet.
That's true.
She's working on Dark. She's working on Elevation. She's in the Nightmare Factory right now. She's working the indie scene. Like, we haven't seen that special person yet. The men's division, they're building it deep already. The women's division hasn't quite gotten there.
No.
So.
Yeah. Good stuff.
There you go. There you go, Sean.
There you go,
Thank
Sean. It's a great question. Thank you very much, man. He said, and side note, I'm quick to these questions because I usually write it midweek while watching wrestling, so just a copy and paste, boom.
Nice.
Well, there you go. Gauntlet thrown down. See if you can beat the Mop Man to be first on the Patron mailbag questions. Next up, Andy Jessup says, good day, kind sirs. We all know the WWE's product is awful right now, and people are clamoring for Triple H to take over, but will it be better? Will it improve? Is it just a case of the grass is greener on the other side? Will one man be the change we all need? Or does is it a total change in how the business is run top to bottom? Will any improvements be instant or gradual?
So here's the thing. First of all, we don't know for a fact that Triple H is taking over.
No, we don't. It could be Shane for all we know.
Vince drops. No, from what I've heard, Shane's kind of on the outs. Like, he's kind of an outsider in the company. That he doesn't really do a lot of running the day-to-day. Like, Stephanie does some work, but Trips is in charge of NXT. Main roster, for the most part, is Pritchard and Vince. Yep. And the whole, team of guys that they have, guys and girls, and the whole team of people that they have running underneath them. And from every report that we've heard coming out of people that have come out of WWE, basically the operation at this point is kind of like its own monster. Like, in a way, Vince is trapped in his own monster in the way that it's set up to just kind of keep going.
I'm a monster!
Not you, Braun. Get out of here. Get back on your train. So, the hell. So, in a sense, like, one of the things that we're hearing coming out of WWE is if the head should get cut off, chopped off, if Vince should die in the chair tomorrow, immediately, not much would change. It's all kind of self-perpetuating right now. A lot of stuff has been automated.
And that's a good point. Does Kevin Dunn have it on cruise control in the truck?
In some ways, a lot of the show is on cruise control, and its own momentum is keeping it going forward. And someone else in the top position might not happen. We might see the top position be controlled by committee.
Yeah.
Because there's that kind of politics. Like, it might not be Triple H just stepping apples for apples into Vince's slot and taking over in that way. And if he did, how do you move a 10-ton ship to the side? Like, it doesn't happen overnight. Now, you might see some cosmetic stuff And frankly, the funny thing is, let's say hypothetically that one person were to take over for Vince. Cody Rhodes, the prodigal son, comes back and takes over WWE, and now he's the head booker and he's in charge with, he's where Vince was. You could see overnight a lot of the issues that we all kind of have with like most people have with WWE are things that I feel like could be fairly quickly addressed in terms of story, in terms of plot, in terms of how people are allowed to portray their characters. Those are a lot of the things people have a problem with. They don't have a problem with the big presentation and the showiness. They have a problem with how the cameras are cut. That could change overnight. A lot of our biggest criticisms with WWE are really easy fixes. They're not the sort of things that would be a Byzantine struggle to change. They're things that are strictly cosmetic. There's not that huge of a difference, really, between the way that NXT is produced and the way that WWE Major is produced, just in little tweaks. So could someone step into Vince's shoes and change it for the better overnight? Theoretically, yes. And for the better in a fairly short period of time overall, a few months, you might be able to change a lot of those things that drive us all nuts pretty quickly. But there's a culture at WWE that we especially saw recently with the outing of Mark Carrano that is still, that's been going on for years. It's a very ugly culture that still kind of exists there. And rooting that out might take longer. And I feel like they've done some strides towards it. People like Hugh Morris are getting fired. People like Mark Carrano are getting fired. Like, it's not that kind of stuff is, you can't really pull it off anymore, right? You can't get away with that kind of negative, petty bullshit as much, even though it still happens from time to time and it comes from the top. Vince is one of the guys who oversaw a lot of that petty bullshit back in the day. So could it still be there? Yes. That's going to take a lot longer, I think, to root out of the system.
There's something we're not talking about that nobody talks about. WWE is a public company, publicly traded company with a very large board of directors.
Correct.
Who make all of the decisions. Vince and Kenny McMahon just happens to be a 70 to 80% shareholder on that board of WWE Incorporated, right?
Exactly.
So Stephanie McMahon is on there, Paul Levesque is on there, right? But the rest of them are non-wrestling folks. They're mostly investors and smart guys, right? Smart people. So they will make the decision. Two things will happen. One, whoever his share is willed to will matter when he does pass. That's one. And that will determine who gets those votes in the board. But the board will ultimately decide who steps in as chairman and CEO. Make no mistake. It won't just be him saying, Triple H, you're taking over. And he's out, right? That's not how it's going to go down, guys.
Like the Emperor in Dark Crystal.
Right. It's not going to be like it's not going to be like a Chris Statlander boop and like you're in charge now. No, it's not going to happen like that. Though.
I need to see Triple H versus Shane, trial by stone.
Yes.
Trial by stone. Trial by stone. I need it.
It's absolutely going to be a decision by the board.
Trial by stone. Shayna.
I've got this sledgehammer, and I'm going to bash the stone with it.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. He already has a sledgehammer for the trial by stone. Shane would just have to coast the damn thing.
That's true. Right.
Shane would just fall off on the stone from the top of the big castle.
So don't sleep on the board, is what I'm saying. Like, real talk. It's who's in the will to get his share, who's he leaving his WWE billions to, and who is the board favoring right now to take over as chairman and CEO. They will vote for a new chairman, and they will plant a new seat. They will vote on who is going to be chief executive officer of WWE Incorporated. Those things will happen. That's not going to determine who's going to sit in the chair with the headset on. That's different. The fact that Vince does both of those things now that's Vince. Maybe the person that becomes president or chairman and CEO isn't the person in the chair. It's very realistic that it could just be Kevin Dunn and Bruce Pritchard running things as head of creative and head of production. But someone else is just sitting atop the ivory Titan Tower as CEO and chairman of the board. So I listen, we all have this kind of hope and dream that it's going to be Triple H or somebody that's familiar that we're familiar with. It probably won't be.
It could also be a non-majority. You could have someone with no major interest, no major holding interest, and then everything's got to go by committee. That's kind of what I was referring to. Is it has to go through a vote.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and that would slow everything.
Oh, totally. Esme threw in 100 bits, said John Silver as champ. I believe we called that one out.
Yes, that was called.
I'll just do
TNT champ.
Old times.
I'm saying it.
Rest in peace, Brody.
Shut the fuck up, Silver!
It still hurts. John Silver will rise no higher than the TNT championship.
Agreed. 100%. Esme also threw in 100 bits, said that's master and commander on the far side of the world ship steering, fellas. Overnight change is possible.
Agreed. There is some overnight change that's possible, but some of the more Byzantine aspects of WWE is going to that's going to be the far side of the world. Yeah. By the way, great
quality reference. Thank you very much, Esme, for the bits.
Good stuff.
Let's see. Thank you, Esme, for the question. Good one. That's a good discussion topic. I love getting into the business side of that, not just the kind of the show side of that. It's going to be there's going to be a lot to process, but I feel like Vince is going to be in that chair for another 15 years. We're not anywhere near that happening. It will be world-ending when Vincent Kennedy McMahon leaves us for multiple reasons. Yes. Next up, Martin Welch. Hello, gentle podmen, phenomenal ladies, gents, and all others. I hope all is well in all your worlds. Hello. This weekend was a good laugh. I took the family camping and got a little bit sunburnt, but it was still a lot of fun.
Nice. Get that vitamin D.
Yeah, definitely. I get mine mowing the grass. We have to mow lawns out here in North Carolina.
I get mine grocery shopping.
Right.
Because it's always sunny here in Los Angeles. And you can tell I get a lot of sun.
Yeah, right. Today,
I blind people from 20 pace. I take off my shirt and people's eyes start smoking. It's great.
Today's question is if you could add a member to any faction in AEW from New Japan, who would you add? Also, if you could remove one member from any faction, who would that be? As always, I wish you all love, peace, and fried chicken. 2-time Booby EST champ out.
Yes. Booby Est.
Booby Est.
Oh, man.
By the way, I completed assembly of your Booby prize. It'll be on the way forthwith. Across the pond in a bottle.
Well. Yes.
Actually, it's a bigger one. I had to put it in a cooler, and it's floating in a styrofoam cooler across.
Nice.
Maybe it'll get there.
Nice.
Who knows?
Nice. Sending out an SOS.
Yes.
Shingo Takagi in Death Triangle. Make it a death square with Shingo Takagi.
Ooh.
I said it. I said it. Some pumping bombers up in that thing.
I'm gonna add.
What about?
Oh God, I can't get that one out of my head. That's good. Oh, I'm trying to think and clear my head. You have really rocked. That would be so good.
That would be pretty
Shingo
sick.
Takagi and Pentagon, or Shingo Takagi and Pac,
and Phoenix and Pac. Yeah. I mean, Pac and Shingo go back to Dragon Gate, so.
Oh God, I didn't even think about that. Holy smokes, that's right.
It would fit.
I
gave one. Your turn.
I keep going to Tomohiro Ishii. I just don't know where to put him.
Oh, Ishii?
Team Taz?
He would fit in really well with Team Taz, except that Team Taz has a lot of bloviating bullshit, and Ishii is just,
all work.
There's nothing. Yeah, all work. All work. I almost feel like he'd be better in, like, Nightmare Family, something kind of straightforward like that. Let's think, what factions are in AEW? You've got Team Taz, you have Dark Order, you have the Hardy Family Office,
Jungle Express,
the Factory,
Jurassic
Pinnacle,
Express, excuse me,
Jurassic Express, Pinnacle, Inner Circle. I feel like Ishii, if he was a heel, would go well in Pinnacle.
I agree. That's where I was thinking. Yeah,
serious dude going on and kicking ass. But there's a lot of guys I'd rather see in Pinnacle besides Ishii. I
can't get you got Takagi grilled into my head, man.
Sorry.
If the Empire thing doesn't work out, I would love to see Will Ospreay in the Pinnacle. I feel like him and MJF would either bond or go nuclear with each other, and I'd love to see that. Could see
if Jericho ever steps aside Okada taking over Inner Circle would be interesting. Same kind of, although he's I don't know. He's kind of his own. He's a loner. He doesn't really do well in factions.
Yeah, even Chaos, he doesn't do that much.
Chaos is like the worst faction. There's like the mid card guys like Goto and those guys all come out and help each other, but like the top tier guys in Chaos just don't give a crap. Like even when they're in tag teams, like they barely pay attention to each other. It's like they're just there to, unlike, Los Ingobernables, who are like brothers.
Oh God, that's good, Esme. Jay White taking over Inner Circle.
Yeah.
Jay White face turn, takes over Inner Circle and feuds with MJF. That's good.
I almost think it'd be better if he came along and usurped Kenny Omega from the Elite, but just as a bit of revenge.
Yeah, that didn't work out so well this other time. So
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jay White Inner Circle. That would be good.
That would be good. If we had to remove one member from any of those factions in AEW, who would we do? Who would we remove? I would take Brian Cage out of Team Taz, which they're working on doing.
Brian. Well, it's funny because he was the inaugural member. And I feel like, I
guess he and Ricky Starks at the same time, wasn't it?
I want Ricky Starks out of there.
Same.
I want to lose Ricky Starks and get another big powerhouse dude. You got Hobbs, Cage, get another big dude in there. You know what I mean? If Camarado wasn't already taken by the Factory, I'd say put Camarado in there. Camarado, Hobbs, and Cage, all in the same faction with Taz.
Jesus Christ,
that is a scary faction.
Unstoppable.
And then just have Hook there.
Yeah,
this random kid, this random just jacked kid. That'd be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be Starks out of Team Taz, or they already split up. I would have decimated Nightmare Factory, or Nightmare Family, but they already did that by having the Factory split off. So they already did that. Starks out of Team Taz, replace him with Camarado.
That's even better than Cage. Yeah, I like that a lot better.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Martin. Next up, Brandon.
Thank you, man.
Mullet King Monroe says, "Hey, great ones. I hope you're all happy and enjoying this journey we call life, and have surrounded yourself with honest, loving people that lift you up and not drag you down. Have we got Mop Man 2.0 going on here?
That's some 2.0 Mop Man-ish right there. That is."
Esme threw in a bonus answer with Nick Aldis as leader of Inner Circle.
Yeah, I see him more as the leader of Pinnacle.
Same. I see him as like an older, wiser MJF.
Yeah. Like MJF's the only guy bringing fire to that group. If it wasn't for him, they'd be a whole bunch of like stuffy fuddy-duddies with nice suits, kind of like Nick Aldis. Yeah. So maybe,
Interesting. Brandon's question is, will you create the BWO universe if WWE 2K22 is good? To be determined. No promises. And if so, can you give me the most glorious mullet? Yes. If I do, you will get the most glorious mullet.
Yep.
Absolutely.
The full-on, the biggest mullet you can get.
Absolutely.
Give him the Brian Pillman. Flying Brian Pillman mullet.
Totally. So he wants us to take these 10 wrestlers that he listed off and put them in a New Japan faction. Each of them.
Okay.
Which faction would we put them in?
Okay, so let's go one by one.
MJF is the first one. Which New Japan faction will we put MJF in?
Bullet Club.
Suzuki Gun.
Are we doing explanations for this?
No. Bullet Club, in my eyes, is so fractured right now, I'm not sure it can recover. That's my feel on Bullet Club.
He's, as far as the basic philosophy, so we are explaining.
Could MJF rally and resurge Bullet Club? I think so. Sure, that's
shit talking heel gaijins. MJF is perfect for Bullet Club. Are you kidding me? Suzuki Gun is like pure Japanese assholery, who all follow Suzuki. You think right? You think that that MJF is going to fall in line with Minoru Suzuki? Bullet Club for MJF.
I think he's as vicious as Minoru Suzuki is. I think he's got that vein in him.
Right. So he wouldn't last long in Suzuki Gun before he got murdered by Murder Grandpa.
Okay. That's fine. That's fair enough. All right. Shawn Michaels. I'm assuming 97 Shawn Michaels in his prime. Or
97 Shawn
Michaels. Or 99
Michaels.
Shawn Michaels. Whenever he was at the top.
Bullet Club.
Yeah.
Straight up Bullet Club.
Yeah, it feels like another Jay White. Finn Balor.
Bullet Club.
I mean, how do you not put the Prince back in?
He created the damn
shit, you know?
He made Bullet Club. What else am I going to put him in? Right. He's got to be in Bullet Club. He is Bullet Club.
He comes back to take it back from Evil and Jay White.
Exactly.
Yeah. Rhea Ripley.
Chaos.
Yeah.
Chaos.
Shotzi Blackheart.
Chaos.
Yeah. Stone Cold Steve Austin.
No faction. DTA.
Yep. He just he doesn't need a faction, doesn't want a faction. He is his own faction.
He is his own faction. One-man army. No, rattlesnakes don't get in factions.
Lita.
Main unit.
What now? I don't know of main unit. Which one is main unit?
No. That's like everybody else.
Okay.
That's Tanahashi and Ibushi, all those guys.
Gotcha.
Actually, no. Lita would be in Los Ingobernables.
Oh, that's good. She did go to Mexico, yeah.
Mexican influenced, countercultural, right? Los Ingobernables for Lita.
Yeah, definitely LIJ. Hangman Adam Page. Does he go back to Bullet Club? Yeah,
yes.
Gaijins.
Actually, now would he be more chaos?
I think he'd be more chaos now.
I don't think he has I think he might be main unit.
Yeah, that's true.
Point.
That's true.
I think he might be main unit. Yeah.
Would he fit in with Empire with Ospreay?
He might. No, because he's not a heel.
I mean,
he's like the
him
opposite
around, you know. I just don't. I don't like heel Hangman Page. I think he's
That's
so
what I'm
much
saying.
better as he is right now.
I think he's main unit or Taguchi Gun.
That's a good point.
It could absolutely be Taguchi Gun.
Karrion Kross.
There you go.
That's your Suzuki Gun.
Suzuki Gun. I think that's because the Lance Archer role.
Yeah,
he'd be the new Lance Archer.
There you go. And finally, FTR. Kind of want to put him in Bullet Club.
Man, Suzuki Gun. Technical wizards, assholes, old school wrestlers.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm down with that.
Yeah, I think they could fit in there.
Yep. Yeah, that's good.
It's just there, or they might actually be Empire. They might fit in Empire.
That's a good point too.
Salty, disgruntled guys who want their shots.
Actually, I'm gonna go Empire. That's a good point.
Yeah, I'll say Empire.
I'm still trying to feel Empire out. Like, what's their MO? What are they trying to be?
What's their deal?
Yeah.
What's their deal besides pissing off a lot of New Japan fans? Man, between Evil last year and Empire this year, Gato is pissing people off with his booking. It's fascinating to watch.
Well, are they doing that to set up the return of Kenny Omega to come challenge Okada or vice versa? I'm promised it's coming. Oh, it's so coming. Goodbye and good night. Bang. Thank you very much, Mullet King. Great question.
Thank you, brother.
Next up, Jay Reyes says, "Hey guys, how's it going? First and foremost, I'd like to take this opportunity to gloat and say, see Nick, I told you.
Oh.
I told you Sheeta is really, really good. She just needs to be pushed in the right direction. She has proven what she is capable of to a Japanese audience, but it took 2 years for her to get her bearings in AEW and present herself to American audiences. I'm glad she's finally proving that she is a deserving champ and not just a placeholder."
I don't know if Nick's all the way there yet, Jay.
I'm not there yet.
He's on the path. He's walking the path.
I'm not taking any away from her abilities. I don't think she's the right champion for the product to an American audience. I think is the best way to.
I will agree with you in that I don't think that she was the right champ for the pandemic. I think that she could be an amazing champ. I just don't think she was the right women's champ for the pandemic.
I think they were gearing Britt Baker up. She got injured.
And I think that now that the
she has been ending, a placeholder champ.
It's a reason why she just started to look better and better as a champ. So
if she was such a good champ, Serena Deeb and Thunder Rosa and the NWA women's title wouldn't be in AEW.
That's a damn good point.
Now on
at least not as much. It wouldn't be featured as much.
Now on to my question, and we wouldn't go weeks at a time without seeing the champion on TV. Now on to my question. Potato, whatever. It's fine. She's fantastic. I think she's great. I just don't think she's the right champion. Now on to my question. When I asked my question about the grunge Mount Rushmore, I forgot about Pearl Jam. Then I remembered some people have been in multiple bands. Kim Deal left the Pixies and formed the Breeders with her sister. Cannonball was their big song, wasn't it?
It was.
Breeders?
I saw them live about 20 years ago, and they were not good.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that drugs may have been involved
okay.
in this performance. It was not good.
Let's see. Jack White has been in like 9 bands.
Yes,
that
he has.
dude is
I saw him
incredibly
live too.
musically
That guy,
gifted, though.
terrifying. If you're a musician and you're not terrified of Jack White, you're not really a musician. Right. That guy is absolutely, utterly terrifying. And I love the fact that once the White Stripes broke up, he went out and got like the most talented drummers he could find. Like every time I've seen him not as the White Stripes, he's got the most ridiculous drummer with him. And I'm like, making up for lost time there, Jack? Yeah. Huh. Now that your quote unquote sister is no longer your drummer.
Yeah. Corey Taylor was in Stone Sour before and during Slipknot. Paul McCartney
was Corey a member of the Pale Ones, or was that just Joey Jordison and the guitarist and Clown?
So I think the Pale Ones were separate. Corey's told the story in the past.
Yeah.
I've heard this where he was working at a comic book store or a convenience store,
right?
And
Joey
Mick
was at the
Clown.
gas
I think
station.
Clown came and talked to him about being a singer because he was doing Stone Sour.
Right. And so it was Mick, Clown, and Joey who were in Pale Ones, right? Okay.
And then they did that EP of Mate, Feed, Kill, Repeat, or before they had their actual debut album.
Right. That's when they sold to the record company.
So I loved Corey Taylor's lore, like the stuff that he's done. And I'm a big fan of Stone Sour as well, especially a lot of their older stuff. So I've been watching Corey for, it feels like 30 years at this point. I really enjoy his work. He was in Stone. Okay, so Paul McCartney was obviously in the Beatles, but also had wings. Perry Farrell was in Jane's Addiction and Porno for Pyros. Chris Cornell once left Soundgarden to be an audio slave, which also had consisted of Rage Against the Machine without Zach De La Rocha.
Who also then ended up becoming Prophets of Rage with the guys from Public Enemy. And also Chris Cornell was a member of Temple of the Dog with several members of Soundgarden and Pearl Jam, including Mike McCready and Eddie Vedder, who were before that in Green River, and also did some early project work with Mother Love Bone, which was Chris Cornell's roommate, was the lead singer for that band, who passed away, which is why they made it Temple of the Dog. We could go down the rabbit hole on this.
Mark Tremonti and the drummer from Creed joined up with Miles Kennedy and started Alter Bridge, which, if you like Edge, you love Alter Bridge.
Indeed.
So that turned into like a awesome super group of amazing musicians out of that as well. Let's see. What other bands do you guys listen to that members started in one band but then formed another for whatever reason? I have so many of these. I actually I love these.
We're about to go.
I love these. We're gonna be on this one for a little bit.
Yes.
Go ahead, Ian. What's your first one?
Oh, the first one I was gonna say. When you talk about someone who is like a top musician, and has had one of the most insane careers, where he started in one of the biggest bands of all time. That band then broke up because a member died, and he went and started a new band, and then that band became the biggest band in the world, which has happened very, very few times, if ever. But then at the same time, he's gone and done all these side projects with tons of other people. He's freaking everywhere. That man is Dave Grohl, who started off being the drummer he was the second drummer for Nirvana, or might possibly third, the second one who was actually on an album. And Nirvana broke up because Kurt died. And then he had to go basically back to basics and record it on an 8-track in his basement, the first Foo Fighters album. And then started touring in a van, opening for the Melvins. And then built the Foo Fighters back up to be the biggest rock band in the world, playing Wembley Stadium. At the same time, he's over doing drums for Queens of the Stone Age, which has Josh Homme, who was in Caius, and then it was also
Caius. Oh my God! And Braun and those guys from the Palm Springs crew.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So Josh Homme has been on freaking everything. You can find him all lending his talents all over the place. So that's, we could list off a whole bunch of Josh Holmes' side project, but Dave Grohl did side project for that. He also did a little thing I always like to bring up when people want to know a little bit of trivia about Dave Grohl and they like metal. If you like both those things, check out a band called Probot, Probot.
Okay.
It's a little side project Dave Grohl did where he went and like basically called up all of his favorite metal singers from when he was a kid. Everyone from Max Cavalera and Lemmy to he tried to get Chuck Schuldiner on the album, but he passed away before he could actually be on the album. But Dave did all of the instruments and then called these metal singers to
Corey Taylor was
to
one of them, I believe.
So was the guy from Venom.
Yep.
Like he got a lot of dudes, a lot of amazing guys on this album.
They have fun videos on YouTube of them doing the recording sessions of these.
Yeah, that album kicks 7 sorts of ass. So if there's one person I got to point out who's been in a ton of different bands, started out one place and then it's just gone all over the place, Dave Grohl, and he actually did an album called Sound City, Reel to Reel. And what he did was he bought the mixing board out of the Sound City studios in the Valley out here in LA, and that's the mixing board that recorded dozens of some of the most famous albums of all time, including Nirvana's Nevermind, but also Fleetwood Mac's Rumors, a couple Tom Petty albums, just tons of famous albums. And he bought that mixing board and made his own studio in his house up in the north part of the Valley. And he invited all these famous artists to come in who had previously recorded on this mixing board back in the day. And he made an album of all songs he wrote with them, including Paul McCartney, who came in and did a track with Dave Grohl and Chris Novoselic from Nirvana. So it's essentially Nirvana with Paul McCartney do a track on that album.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool.
I'm going to break in here in the middle of the question to share some news from Raw that Kyle Cotton just dropped in. Apparently, yesterday's Raw was Randy Orton's 420th appearance on Monday Night Raw, which might lend some credibility to why we had the interminglings of Matt Riddle and Randy Orton on Raw. Do you give any credence to that?
We didn't make enough jokes. Yes, we didn't. Well, I don't think that's a direct thing. I think it was just a nice coincidence. But we didn't make enough jokes about the fact that Randy Orton, a man who on many occasions recently has made it clear that he is a fan of the trees.
He is.
He is a man who appreciates his greenery. Mm-hmm. He's now teaming with Matt Riddle. I have a feeling that catering is going to be assaulted over the next few weeks. This is going to be. The backstage is going to get a lot hazier. I need some Cheech and Chong, man. I need those guys to roll up in like their rental car, and the door opens, and this giant cloud of smoke comes out.
Yeah. And
the interviewer, like Sarah Schreiber, is just standing there, and she goes, "I'm hungry, and I don't know why."
Yeah. Anybody have any Kit Kats?
Anyone? Yeah. Guys got any like maybe like some Gatorade
some
or
Fritos?
Fritos?
Yeah.
Chili cheese Fritos.
Back to the music question. Thank you, Kyle, for that breaking news. The one that first came to mind that I could not bring up because I'm obsessed with like these formations of super groups.
Sure.
I think there's something about that, and more recently we've seen several of these form over the course of the last 20 years or so. The first one that comes to mind when I hear supergroup is Damn Yankees. Damn Yankees. It was in the late 80s. It was Tommy Shaw from Styx, Jackie Blades from Night Ranger. You had Ted Nugent in there. Whatever you think of Ted Nugent. You had the guy that I think he took over on the kit for Leonard Skinner.
Yeah.
So you had this they only had really one song. Was Can You Take Me High?
The unofficial song, by the way, of RKO Bro. Can You Take Me High Enough? That's the unofficial song.
But when I think of members leaving bands to form other bands, I think of supergroups, and that was the first one to come to mind for me. If I think of other little supergroups that have formed, there's a little known one called the Winery Dogs. Over the last 10 or so years, it consists of Mike Portnoy from Dream Theater on the kit, and Richie. Oh God, I'm blanking on his name. Oh no, Nick, don't blank. I have to Wikipedia it. I'm sorry. Richie Kotzen and Billy Sheehan.
There you go. Nice.
So really, they were on Mr. Big and a couple of other projects, but it's a 3-piece that like a jam band. Like if you just like good 4 on the floor jam band kind of stuff, check out the Winery Dogs. It is some incredible talent in those 3 guys, and they've put out like 2 or 3 albums in the last 10 years. Really, really good stuff. Go ahead. You go ahead with a couple. Those aren't my favorites, but those are the ones that come to mind.
Super groups. I mean, you talk about classic super groups. You got Cream. Was a super group because you had Ginger Baker, Eric Clapton.
Clapton's the one I remember.
And Jack Bruce. Zeppelin was itself a super group. You had you had what was it? So Robert Plant had been with Band of Joy, and so was John Bonham, I think, came from there too. And then you had Jimmy Page from the Yardbirds.
Yardbirds, that's right.
Yeah. When he was the Yardbirds, which also had Eric Clapton in it. And then Ginger Baker went on to be in Blind Faith with Steve Winwood, who went on to have his own major career after that. Another group, the Eagles. Think about how many guys came out of that with a big career after that. Don Henley,
mostly just Henley and Fry, but yeah.
But still,
yeah,
that's enough right there. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. What other super
Neil Young's career?
Oh,
Jesus Christ! After
Jesus
that.
Christ, the greatest supergroup of all time.
Yeah,
Traveling Wilburys.
Oh wow, yeah.
Roy Orbison, George Harrison, Bob Dylan, Tom Petty. I mean, holy shit. What else did you have?
So if we're getting into some more metal stuff, I can't not talk about the side projects of the members of Pantera. So you had Damage Plan, which I think was the first one that popped up. Actually, no, that's not true. Philip Anselmo formed Down before Damage Plan. It was a side thing that he had done in New Orleans with some friends, and I can't remember where they came from. So he formed Down, and then you had Damage Plan, where Vinny and Dime went off and played, very similar kind of music to Pantera. And then you had Philip H. Anselmo and the Illegals, which he's still touring that to this day, 20 years later. It's not. That guy can't even talk. When his interviews, he's got no voice left. And I mean, singing in the 90s for Pantera, 100 shows a year, that'll happen. Not to mention all the smoking and drugs and no wonder his voice is toast. And it's kind of it's crazy ironic to me that he's the one that made it out.
Right, of all the people, how did Anselmo survive the longest?
I mean, I know Vinny and Vinny and Dimes could drink and enjoyed their gentleman's club in Dallas. Right. They were known for their drinking, but good Lord, the heroin addict outlives everybody. Who'd have saw that coming? Yeah,
it's like Renton outliving Tommy in Train Spotting.
Yep, makes
no sense.
No. Costanza threw in Wu-Tang in the chat, and that's one you got to talk about.
Wu-Tang, or what was it? 211 or 213 was Snoop Dogg and Nate Dogg and.
Oh, you're
You know what I'm talking about?
I do. And the name's escaping me. I mean, Nate Dogg, and they had their own career. They had their own the Regulators.
Speaking of Regulators, the Highwaymen. The Highwaymen. Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, and Chris Christopherson.
Wow.
That's a Ghost Riders in the Sky, baby. That's a goddamn supergroup.
It's not too. The Dog Pound is the one that I'm thinking of.
You're thinking of the Dog Pound, yeah.
So Jay over on YouTube is confirming 213. I hadn't heard of it.
213.
I haven't heard of it named that, but yeah, there's been some great. I mean, there's probably as many stories of guys leaving bands and having successful solo careers as there are people leaving bands and forming other bands.
Right.
But yeah, we could be here all night. I love this question. I love this question so much, Jay.
Easily be here all night.
God, what are some other ones? Oh, I forgot one. I said Damage Plan and Down. There was also the formation of the super group called Hell Yeah, and it had Vinnie Paul on the kit from Pantera. You had Tom, what's his name, the guitarist from Nothing Face,
from Mudvayne,
and the lead singer of Mudvayne.
Yeah.
And their stuff was good.
Yeah.
It was good. It wasn't all pig squealing metal like you like. It wasn't Nordic black metal,
No. Definitely going for the mainstream.
Right.
I mentioned them last week. I'll throw them in here as like a final thing, but Mad Season again. You got Lane Staley from Alice in Chains, Mike McCready from Pearl Jam, Barrett Martin, I think, from Barrett Martin, and you had some every so often. It wasn't all Lane Staley on vocals. You'd also have Mark Lanigan from the Screaming Trees, along with Barrett Martin. And that band is sick. Then they only really had one album, but they're great. So check that out. You got anything else for this one?
I'm scrolling through one thing real quick. There was a Rolling Stone article, and we named all the ones that they had on there. So yeah.
Did we?
Yeah, we did name them all. Did we name? You mentioned Blind Faith and Mad Season, Highwaymen, Audio Slave. We didn't mention Bad Company.
Oh God, right?
Right. So that's one, sure. I mean, they had some huge hits.
They had like half the guys from Free, didn't they? Paul Rogers.
Paul Rogers, Simon Kirk, and then you had Mick Ralphs from Mott the Hoople and Boz Burrell from King Crimson.
Yeah. God, that band was put together actually by Jimmy Page.
And they went on. They were introduced. They went on the road with Joe Walsh after the Eagles, or was that before the Eagles? No.
And then Paul Rogers ended up as the lead singer of Queen for a minute there. He was on tour with Queen after Freddie passed away.
So it says here they have a current status update on Bad Company. They're still going, apparently. Bassist Boz Burrell passed in 2006. They spent the summer on the road with Joe Walsh, so I guess then... though guitarist Mick Ralphs felt like staying home, so they recruited Rich Robinson of the Black Crowes to replace him.
That makes sense. Nice.
So the lineup shifted quite a bit, but every few years they come back together. That's awesome. I completely slept on Bad Company. I didn't think about that one, but...
I just thought of one.
Yep.
You know the band Lagwagon?
No.
You know the band No Effects?
Yes.
Okay. You know the band Swinging Utters?
No.
Okay. You're not a big punk rock guy, I take it. Okay, well, basically, you had Fat Mike from No Effects put together a band with Joey Cape and Dave Ron of Lagwagon, and Spike from Swinging Utters. Me First and the Gimme Gimmes. For all my 90s punk rock kids. There's one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Fat Mike, nice guy.
We got to move on or we'll be here for all night.
We will be here all night. Jay, why do you do this to us?
Jay, you know exactly what you're doing when you ask these questions.
You get us. Why you do this for?
Why do you do this for?
Why do you do this for?
Thank you very much, man.
Come on.
Love it. Next up, Patrick Kennedy says, good evening, gentlemen. My question today will hopefully not pit you guys against each other too much.
Uh-oh.
But what is one wrestler that each of you likes but the other does not? I.e. Ian likes Repo Man, and if I remember correctly, you didn't, Nick. Yes. Thank you for being phenomenal. And one last thing, just to get Ian off on a tangent, get to the chopper!
I'm not taking the bait.
That's bait.
I'm not. That's bait. I'm not your monkey. Yeah. I'm not going to dance just because you tempt me with beautiful, beautiful Arnold Schwarzenegger lines, and I want to just... No! I'm not going to do it. I'll save it. I just did one anyway.
Yeah. Cohagen, give these people ear.
Stop it. Don't get me started, man. Don't get me... You know, like we're already... We lost time on Jay there.
We're on the brink
We're on that rabbit hole.
of cracking. All right, so... what is one wrestler that you know I don't like but you like?
Trying so hard not to do an Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's like a challenge like those like don't laugh challenges. It's a don't do an Arnold Schwarzenegger voice challenge. Yeah. It's so hard. I'm literally no.
It's like revving a motorcycle, revving you up.
I'm literally sweating over here. Come on.
Sully.
Okay.
Remember when I said I would kill you last? I lied.
It physically hurts. Stop it.
Brian threw in 100 bits, said, hey, Ian, yogurt. I hate yogurt, even with strawberries. What? I don't get that reference.
What? Oh, he's trying to make me do Spaceballs. No.
Yogurt.
That's another one. No, I'm not. No. I'm trying to be good at not doing that.
Merchandising.
You're killing me, man. What is a wrestler that
What's a wrestler that I hate that you love?
I don't... Hate is a strong word.
Yeah, that's true. What is a wrestler that I dislike?
Nia Jax is pretty much the only one that you like.
But no, you have to really like her. That's
what I'm saying. I'm ambivalent on Nia Jax.
I don't
hate her. Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm ambivalent on her at best. And you don't hate Hikaru Shida. You don't think she was the best champ at the time, as you just said. I'm trying to think of someone that you hate other than Nia Jax. Like, who do you just like can't stand, or like even just dislike? Like you just don't like when they're on TV, besides Nia Jax. I can't think of one. You're generally a pretty happy-go-lucky guy when it comes to wrestlers.
Yeah.
What about like even classic ones? Like, I mean, actually, I know one that you like that I can't stand.
What's that?
Warrior. Ultimate Warrior. But see, you're ambivalent about him.
I'm ambivalent because I was a different age and I didn't understand all of that stuff, but I'm not going to punish myself as a kid for my more progressive thinking as an adult, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not going to take that away from my childhood.
But I didn't even like him as a kid.
I didn't know he was a cocaine-riddled woman beater when I was 12 years old, you know?
Yeah, homophobic,
sure, all
racist,
the things, right?
Crap, but yeah.
But I'm not going to take away the enjoyment that I saw with him wrestling some of the biggest figures in history and some of the biggest matches on the biggest stages, just because my more progressive adult self.
But this kind of work doesn't matter. As kids, you would have liked Warrior, and I wouldn't. So that kind of works.
Sure.
1991 Nick and 1991 Ian would have had different opinions on Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, I like the crazy guy that comes out and he was shaking the ropes. And I thought that was awesome.
I thought he was annoying.
All right. That's one.
There you go.
There's one.
Yeah. Now he's got to find one that I like that you hate.
Well, he already used Repo Man, so we can't do that one.
What is your problem with Repo Man? That I like that you don't like. Again, like who do I not like
besides Nia Jax?
Who else have you not liked throughout the history of wrestling, though?
I would full disclosure, I was never really big on Hulk Hogan.
I liked Hogan as a kid, but it wasn't like he wasn't my favorite guy.
Like I liked the guys that felt dirty. I liked the guys that had, There's
a lot I could read into that, Nick. Nick likes big sweaty men that feel dirty.
I liked Big Boss Man.
I
liked Al Snow.
Big dirty boss
I liked my crazy 20-year-old self love Al Snow coming out. What do we want? Head. And I hold up a giant mannequin head with "Help Me" written on the forehead. Like that kind of crazy stuff. That's what I dug. And of course, you had the big larger-than-life characters of Rock and Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels and Taker. Like, there's not many people that I looked at. If I didn't like them, I just didn't watch them. It wasn't like Nia, where I just actively want them off my TV. There has never been another performer in wrestling, ever, that I don't want to actively see on my television set more than Nia Jax.
Luger?
Like, again, childhood self.
X-Pac?
Even X-Pac was he might be the annoying guy that got lucky and hung around. He's like cousins with one of the cool kids. That was what X-Pac felt like in DX.
This is going to be tough. Balls Mahoney.
I loved DX and you didn't like them. That's one. I loved the New Age Outlaws.
I love the New Age Outlaws.
What? We've talked about this before and you didn't like him.
What are you talking about? I like New Age Outlaws just fine.
Okay.
They weren't like dude, man, my answering machine used to be Road Dogg going, "Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody. Oh, wait, you already did. Leave a message." That was my answering machine message.
I believe you.
I didn't like the New Age Outlaws.
Right. Costanza said, how about Val Venus? Where do you stand on Val Venus?
I liked Val Venus.
I
liked Val Venus a lot back in the day. I can't stand his ass now. Yeah. He went down the Austin Aries low-key path, but but back in the day, back in the 90s, Val Venus cracked me up. I thought he had a great look. The gimmick always made me laugh. I loved Val Venus back in the day. That doesn't work, unfortunately.
No. You couldn't get away with that today.
One that no.
About as close as you're gonna get is Angel Garza ripping his tights off, or his pants off.
And even then, that's nowhere near. That's not even the same league.
No.
As Val Venus. What other? I mean, yeah, you're a pretty happy-go-lucky guy. Like this actually illustrates how crazy your distaste for Nia Jax is. Yeah. It's very out of character. Very out of character.
But I hope it drills home the point that I'm very just. She might be the nicest lady in the world. I'm never gonna know that.
We're gonna have to get you to like a signing or something and have you actually meet her and see if it changes your opinion.
You know what? I would take it one step further.
Oh, really?
I would be willing to have dinner and interview her with Nia Jax.
Sit down interview.
Sit down
Nick,
interview.
Change my mind.
Yeah, there you go. Change my mind. Tell me why I should love you in the ring. Why I should admire your performance.
Why does she have to prove a damn thing to you? Why she never sit down for that?
She doesn't.
I would listen to that interview. Nia, have your people get in touch with our people.
Yeah.
We're gonna work this out.
There you go.
Yeah.
That could be the one thing that takes the Nia Shrine down.
Yes. When you get an interview with Nia Jax, you get to take down the Nia Shrine.
Yep.
There you go.
Gauntlet thrown down. Gauntlet picked up. Thank you very much, Patrick. Good question. That's a tough one because there's not a lot that I dislike. It's Nia.
Yeah. I can't.
I am willing to have my mind changed by the woman herself.
There it is.
I'm open to that possibility.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
We'll keep our ears
sitting there going, tell me why I should like you.
Hashtag my wrestling. We'll see if that ever happens. Thank you very much, Patrick. It's a great question.
Jay, I see you over there in chat. Jay brings up Benoit, and I think that's its own bonus episode. The two of us weighing in on Benoit.
That's one of those ones where, like, you know, kind of like we were saying about Warrior. Like, if we knew then what we know now, obviously our feelings would have been different. But back in the day, I freaking loved Benoit.
Same.
There's a lot of people like
Rabid Wolverine. I loved it.
I loved a lot of people till I found out they were shit. I loved Austin Aries till I found out he was a shithead. There's a lot of people that I love. You love them until you find out they're a shithead. I loved Joss Whedon. Found out he's a shithead.
Yep.
That sucks.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, I have a hard time watching Jaws. So it's tough.
Anna said, don't kill her, but for a few months she couldn't stand Braun, would turn the TV off when he came on. I'm glad you have seen the error in your ways.
Yeah. Get him out of here.
Okay. I'm a monster!
No, come on.
Okay. Thank you very much, Patrick. Next up, Yardy says, Gute Abend, dames and herren. I hope everybody is having a great evening. I finally watched all Halloween movies and really enjoyed it, but now I'm stuck between two other movie series. What do you recommend more between A Nightmare on Elm Street and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? As always, thank you for being amazing.
That's tough.
We're talking the originals.
Well, he's talking the series. So he wants to go through it. He wants to go through a series of movies. I'd say the easy answer there is Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is there's more, like, as bad as the movies get, there's at least like a cheesiness and entertainment factor to them. Whereas like the bad Texas Chainsaw Massacres, yeah, for the most part. I mean, you have plot pretty much for 7 movies, and then they kind of pseudo reboot. But then you can go into Freddy versus Jason, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
But with Nightmare, you've got 1 is great, 3 is great, 2 is totally different and outside of canon, but great in its own way. And I will actually defend that movie. It's also, that is one of the most subversive, like non-subtle subversive movies you'll ever see. Probably one of the greatest, like, underrated queer movies of all time. Yeah. And what's great about it, if you get the chance, on Shudder, there's a documentary about the making of it. I think it's called Scream Queen or something like that. But it's about the making of Nightmare on Elm Street 2 and how the lead actor was gay and the screenwriter was gay, but the director wasn't, but then made like the gayest movie ever and supposedly didn't know that he made this really gay movie, but it's so blatant all through it. Like, there's no way you didn't know, dude. There's no way. But at the same time, it's actually like a really interesting timepiece as a result. 4, I think, has its good points. Directed by Rennie Harlan, who was way ahead of his time and very visionary as a director, but didn't really, I think he was also insane. So he never really got to, he was always a little kind of scatterbrained. So a lot of great visuals and great moments in that, but the movie as a whole isn't very coherent. And then it just goes down the toilet for the next couple of movies.
3 is Dream Warriors, right?
Correct. With that great Dawkins.
Rosanna Arquette.
Yes. Patricia Arquette.
In her gown and her socks.
That awesome Dawkins song, too. We're the Dream Warriors.
It was my favorite until Freddy versus Jason came out.
Don't want to dream no more.
Freddy versus Jason is literally my favorite one now because it's almost like a kaiju movie at this point.
It kind of is. And they kill one of the chicks from Destiny's Child, so that's always also a bonus. But on the other side of things, Texas Chainsaw
There's
Massacre,
another band, Beyonce breaking out from Destiny's Child.
That was always kind of the way it was going to go.
Well,
if you knew Destiny's Child, you always knew it was just there. It's kind of like NSYNC. You're just there to give Justin Timberlake a start.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Joey Fatone wasn't going to break out and have a big singles career. No. Okay. They're all Justin Timberlake was the Shawn Michaels. Everyone else in NSYNC was the Marty Jannetty. And I'm sorry, but everyone else in Destiny's Child was a Marty Jannetty.
Sure.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. First movie. All time. Brilliant. Groundbreaking.
Absolutely broke new ground on horror.
Still messed up today. Still feels like you just feel gross watching it to this day.
Where do you stand on the remakes, by the way?
So this is the problem. The first one's good.
Yeah.
The second one's good. The third one is go sideways. I think I'm trying to remember if it was 3 or 4 that had Matthew McConaughey and Renée Zellweger in it. But it went real downhill real quick. The first remake with Jessica Biel, I think it was Michael Bay produced.
Yeah.
Is pretty good. It's pretty good. It's very polished, which unfortunately isn't really.
That doesn't play into its atmosphere too well.
Yeah,
it's a little overproduced.
Not, like Texas Chainsaw should feel grimy and gritty and gross, and it doesn't. It feels very, it does, but just in a much more polished studio kind of way. So it's good, but it lacks that grit that the original 2 do. And the sequel, which was Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, that's probably the best of the new ones because it feels dirty as hell. But
that's
then
the one where they focused
downhill.
on Arlie Ermey as the sheriff. And the family and all of that, yeah.
Yes. And then they did Texas Chainsaw 3D, and then they did Leatherface, which are both crap.
Yeah.
So I think like the lows in Texas Chainsaw suffer from being boring. And Nightmare never got boring. It was always, even when it was bad, it was entertaining bad.
Yeah.
Whereas Texas Chainsaw, when it's bad, it's boring bad. You're just like sitting there going, all right. It kind of goes into torture porn territory, which is, again, I think it's just boring. So as far as recommendations for a series to watch, I would say Nightmare on Elm Street before Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I mean, there's not many things that are more scary than being dragged through that doorway and that barn door slamming shut by Leatherface. The
sound of the meat hammer hitting that dude's head is an all-time Foley effect. That is all time. That thud sound. And then him just then it's shot like such shit. You can't really see what's going on, but you can see his body kind of twitching.
Yeah.
It's so freaky.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is that movie shows like nothing. You come away from it thinking you've seen all this stuff. You never see anyone get chopped up with a chainsaw. Like the only thing you see at one point, Leatherface kind of cuts his leg with it accidentally, but it's like a brief little shot. You don't really even see that much blood. He hangs the lady on the hook at one point. You don't see anything. Like it's so much they don't show. It's all mental.
Yeah.
Insane.
Esme threw in 100 bits for Yardy, said it's not a series, but you have to watch The Fog.
What's funny is, if you're following me on Instagram, I actually was just at the lighthouse from The Fog.
Ooh.
Up at Point Reyes.
Ooh.
And it is spooky.
Ooh.
It's cool.
Is that up by Carmel? Up that way?
Way past there. North of Carmel, north of the Bay Area.
Oh.
There's a little peninsula called Point Reyes. And on the very, very end of that,
like north of San Rafael and like Marin County and like north of there?
Yes. Yeah, a little bit north of there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Kyle dropped some breaking news in the chat. With the Dark Side of the Ring lineup next season. If you guys want to check that out, we have the people in there. I want to get to the next question though, real quick.
Let's go.
Thank you very much, Yardy. Kyle's question is teed up next. So last week, out of the WWE quarterly financial report call, we received the glorious news that there is going to be a WWE anime produced by Crunchyroll.
Oh, yes.
Given that this is highly likely to be amazingly awful or awesome, with no in between, my question is for you two is that if you were making the WWE anime, what would you want to make it awesome? What would you make it to make it awesome, or the room level of entertaining bad?
Yes.
It can be any genre or style of anime you want it to be, as long as it involves WWE characters. And to be clear, I want both of you to give your awesome anime and your bad anime that is just an entertaining train wreck that's over the top hilarious. If time allows, I'd also like to hear what kind of story arcs you'd like to see from your WWE anime. Thank you, gentlemen, as always.
I mean, story arcs is I don't know if you need story arcs. You just do like a Shonen Jump kind of anime where it's just about people battling. Who's stronger, right? There's your plot. You don't need anything other than that. And it's just about leveling up. Who's stronger and like, I'm the stronger fighter. And it just how they level up and become stronger. There's actually a wrestling anime already called Tiger Mask, and I think it's already on Crunchyroll. And if you watch it, there's a lot of people who are still in New Japan who are in that anime. And it's just all about dudes training to be wrestlers and then being wrestlers and fighting in matches. And it's pretty cool. It's a little boring, but they don't go as big and crazy as like a Dragon Ball Z. But that's what WWE should do.
Yeah.
And this is my answer for both making it good and making it room level bad, because I believe you can do both at the same time. And my answer to that is you do Dragon Ball Z meets Tiger Mask with like a little bit of like Luffy thrown in, and then over the top of it all, JoJo's Adventure. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Have you seen that at all,
No.
Nick?
You guys know I'm not into anime.
You haven't seen an anime at all?
I mean, go back to like Full Metal Alchemist and stuff, but I don't remember much about it. I was never into the Dragon Ball or Pokemon stuff or any of the other real animes.
So to reiterate, Dragon Ball and One Piece meets Tiger Mask meets JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. That's my pitch.
Mine is probably more on the line of what they did with Clone Wars. If I had to think, so I'm a big fan of lore, and I think of the value that WWE has in its history of superstars is the lore and legacy that they have of how they came up, how they won titles, their big battles, their big feuds, their big stories. I would love to see an anime version of the, maybe the comeuppance of Shawn Michaels, the comeuppance of Undertaker, and then ultimately they meet in these series of battles throughout the course of their careers. Stuff like that. Show me The Rock playing football and sitting in his car with opening his wallet and seeing $7 in there. That story that he tells very often, and somehow he meets Vince and comes up and becomes Rocky Maivia and ultimately The Rock. That kind of stuff. I want to see origin stories. I think there's an untapped resource that they haven't really told outside of like Chronicles and things like that. And they've got this, before they started doing the Chronicles, they've got this whole history of WWE that they really haven't tapped into. We've seen a little bit of it with Stone Cold's interviews. We've gotten a little taste of that. But think of the stuff they could do with Ric Flair and even Undertaker, in an anime format, right? How they could power up, how they could take it. So that's me. I want lore and origin story type stuff.
How about this? Vampire Hunter D, only it's Undertaker.
I have no context. I don't know what that means.
No? Oh, okay. Legend of the Overfiend, only it's Dexter Lumis and Indy Hartwell. That's a deep cut. If you know, you know, and I'm sorry. All right. Well, there you go.
There you
That's
go,
our
Kyle.
that's our pitches for the WWE cartoon, and I would watch all of those just for the record.
Yes. Next up, Esme Booby Champ says, "Hola,
Yeah.
papis." Hope you two are warm.
She's in the
and
chat.
She,
She can
she
hear
knows
you.
she wants me to do that every week. Hope you two are warm and fed. Let's talk buddy cops, just buddy remakes. Recast these awesome movies using wrestlers. Number 1,
Bring it on.
Tango and Cash.
Oh, we did this last week, didn't we? Who did we say last week for Tango and Cash? Or we ended up being Lethal Weapon that we did it for.
Yeah, I feel like I don't remember what it was though. Were we talking about that? That wasn't with the dogs, was it?
With the dogs?
Keiko and Ziggler? No.
I don't think so.
No, that was me making a
Tango
reference
and
on
Cash.
Twitter at one point. That's what it was.
Tango and Cash. Seth and Cody are the first ones that come to my mind, like Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. What about Powerhouse Hobbs and Brian Cage as Tango and Cash?
MJF and Jericho.
Ooh. All right, you win.
Next up, Lethal Weapon.
Ah, okay.
So we got to have Riggs and Murtaugh.
John Moxley and Ron Simmons.
Yes. Yes.
Done.
Yes. Just all the yes.
And instead of saying I'm too old for this shit, he just goes, damn.
Shit, Riggs. Damn.
Damn.
Next up, Bad Boys.
He's stuck in the toilet. It's gonna blow up.
Yeah.
Finally blows up. He just goes, damn.
Yeah. We got to have Mike
Moxley.
Lowry from Bad Boys. I forget what Martin Lawrence's character's name was.
Oh, we're doing Bad Boys?
Bad Boys.
Kofi Kingston and Malcolm Bivens.
That's pretty good.
Kofi make a good Mike Lowry.
Mike Lowry.
Mm-hmm. You know Malcolm Bivens would do that.
Or just Kofi and Woods,
Martin.
man. Those two right there would be fine. Buddy cops, yeah.
Oh yeah,
But they like each other too much.
But we know that that Woods is a little bit too much of a slinger. If you know what I mean,
Yeah.
he's not like Martin Lawrence in the movies. You can't have a slinger be Martin Lawrence in the movies. You got to have someone who's a little bit more less down to do business.
Yeah, that's good. I like
someone,
that one.
someone a little less rated R.
Next up, Hot Fuzz. So Simon Pegg and
Hot
Nick Frost.
Fuzz.
Equivalents.
Drake Maverick and Rusev. Or Miro. Drake Maverick is like super serious Nick Pegg. Rusev is, or Miro is like the super over the top, like aggressive 80s action movie obsessed Nick Frost.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I was trying to think of some other UK guys that might be good there, and I probably don't watch enough NXT UK, unfortunately.
You have to have William Regal as a Timothy Dalton role in that movie.
Oh,
though.
that's good. Yes.
Just saying.
Yep.
If you're going to remake Hot Fuzz,
Yep.
just got to do it.
Yep.
And
You're talking about the Bill Nye role, not Timothy Dalton.
no, I'm talking about Timothy
Oh,
Dalton. Bill
the
Nye
villain guy in the town. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't Bill Nye like the constable cop guy?
He was the head cop. Yeah.
I'm thinking of Regal for that.
You should have Nigel McGuinness for that.
Yeah, that'll work. That'll work.
Robbie Brookside. Robbie Brookside would be way better.
There you
for
go.
that.
Yeah.
There you go. Robbie Brookside. And then you have to have gotta get Glenn Jacobs in as the big guy who ended up being the Hound on Game of Thrones. Just have Kane in there going yarp. Yarp.
What was his name?
Yarp.
Rory McCann.
Yep. Very Scottish lad,
Yes.
that one.
And finally, Thelma and Louise.
Ooh.
Charlotte and Becky.
Raquel and Rhea.
Raquel and Rhea. Yeah, there you go.
Raquel and Rhea, dude. Raquel and
Or
Rhea.
Dakota and Raquel.
Nah, Raquel and Rhea.
Raquel and Rhea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but then you have to have If you do that, who's Brad Pitt?
Yeah, who's going to be the Brad Pitt? That's going to be Angel Garza.
I'm in. Yep. I'm in.
Because wasn't he like the love boy of the?
Yeah, he's a love toy.
Yeah,
boy
toy.
Rips him off.
Yep. Angel Garza, the Lothario, absolutely.
Yep. Done. Sold. There you go.
Thanks, fellas, and as always, stay sexy. Esme Booby Champ, former Booby Champ. She's calling herself the best Booby Champ. Martin, you got competition.
Whoa! Look at that.
Because Martin, you're the Booby EST. But now Esme's saying she's the BEST Booby Champ.
This is kind of like we're heading towards a WrestleMania main event here.
Sounds like there's a stipulation match in their future.
The best versus the EST. That's get a WrestleMania main event. I'm just telling you.
I think we might have to settle that war at SummerSlam. I'm
here for it.
The pick'ems.
I'm here for it.
All right. Next up, Brian Average says, hello, gentlemen. After watching Joe Bob Briggs' The Last Drive-In this past week, it got me thinking.
So good.
With the vast library of matches that WWE has, what would you think about a late-night show in the vein of the old horror host shows like Monster Vision and Elvira, where there's a host showing random wrestling matches from different eras and promotions with commentary in between the matches with some backstory and humor?
110%. Yes. Corey Graves and Shotzi Blackheart hosting a late night thing
in black and white.
Sure. Whatever. Elvira wasn't always in black and white. But you have, Shotzi's basically WWE's equivalent of Elvira at this point. She totally gets that shtick.
Yeah.
Like she is that shtick. She used to do that shtick. She used to be a late night host. She used to actually be a late night host. This is something she can do. And Corey Graves has the wrestling history, the knowledge, and the ability to do the presentation. And he looks like a much younger, less seedy Joe Bob Briggs. So he could probably, he looks pretty.
That makes me want to produce that show myself, honestly.
Dude, oh my God, I would watch the rap out of that. That's a great idea, Brian.
Would you host that show?
Would I host that show? I'm not on Shotzi's level, but yes, sure. Why? Pitch it?
I want to make it.
To be continued.
I want to make it.
To be continued.
Brian, let me know if you want to maybe work on that. That's a very good idea. I think that's a missed opportunity that nobody's taken advantage of yet. That would be very good. Very good idea, Brian. Next up, Jesse O'Connor. Oh, I'm refreshing the page. 1 second. Loading. There we go. Come on. Jesse O'Connor says, hey, guys. Y'all have been talking a lot lately about wrestlers being a good promo or not good on the mic at all. There's been legendary promos that have changed the course of history, but what are some of your favorite promos from recent history in the last 2 years? Also, if you had to pick on a wrestler to get people hyped about something most would find boring, who would you hand that mic to that is currently active?
I'm going to do the second question first. Jericho, MJF, Cody, right off the top.
Throw a nod to Daniel Bryan in there.
Daniel Bryan, 100%.
Yep.
I would have said Seth 2 years ago, but I feel like his character is 100% his way. But he's a really damn good promo.
I'd say Paul Heyman, but she said wrestlers.
Yeah, well, Heyman I think is a given.
Yeah. Drew McIntyre.
Drew
McIntyre's hot fire on the mic.
Absolutely. I'll throw Naito in there. He's a great promo. He's hilarious. Let's see. Who else?
Favorite promo.
Who else has been killing it lately? I like Finn's promos a lot better since he's gone back to NXT. He's had a couple that got me fired up. Like some of the ones he did for Kyle O'Reilly and Karrion Kross were like, almost amped. But I mean, when I think of really like top tier promos over the last few years, Kevin Owens.
That's a good
Kevin
one.
Owens. Top tier promos over the last few years. Cody had like 2 or 3 at the beginning of AEW.
The one of him and Jericho when Inner Circle was at the top, they were in the VIP booth, and he ended up going up and chasing them and like kicking through the glass, and that was hot freaking fire.
Yeah, he had a couple. There right at the beginning of AEW that were just Unreal.
When he had to go through the gauntlet to get to MJF. And he basically gave, you want my truck? Here's my truck. You want me to get my ass kicked by Wardlow in a steel cage? Fine. That one.
I'll do whatever it takes to get to you. Yeah. He also had a pre-taped one that was about his name that was sick. About, working his ass off. Who else? What other great promos? Well, so like we said, Jericho's had a ton of great promos too. MJF is obviously, he's had more than I can count. Let's see. Did Moxley do any during his reign? Yeah, he had one or two that I really liked.
There was one that he did against Kingston when they were feuding. He was sitting on some stairs outside.
That was for Darby Allin.
Was it Darby?
It was the one he gave for Darby. It was the one he gave for Darby where it's like, I don't want to, but I'm gonna kick your ass.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was great. He was like, I see myself in you, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to kill you. Like that one was fantastic. And it set that matchup so well. And I loved that match as a result because Moxley's promo had set it up so well. We'd be remiss if we didn't say that Roman's his new gimmick wasn't just a promo machine. Like some of the promos that he gave when he first came out as head of the table Roman were just absolutely brilliant. Some of the best stuff he's done and proof that he was finally being utilized properly. I refer back to some of those ones he was doing against Jay, and they were spine chilling. They were hair raising, which is what they should be.
I mean, I said it a minute ago thinking it was Moxley's target, but Eddie Kingston could hype it. Eddie Kingston could hype up a burrito.
Eddie's promo when he came out to face Cody Rhodes, he talked his way into a job. Yeah. Straight up. That man talked himself into an AEW job. You had a great match with Cody, but that match wouldn't have been anywhere near as good if he didn't talk butts into seats. So that has to be talked about. I agree. Yeah. I don't think we've had any like all-time promos in the last few years. Like we've had a couple of really, really good ones. No game changers. No like cream of the crops. No hard times. No pipe bombs. But we've had some very, very, very superlative work. So,
great question, Jess.
Good question.
I'm wondering what the next pipe bomb will be. Not necessarily in the same context, but level of promo that it gets its own name, whether it's a meme or not.
They're trying to call Jericho's promo last week or 2 weeks ago the Immortal promo.
It was good,
but it was no better than some of the other ones we just mentioned. Let's not get carried away on the Jericho hype train again, please.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Jess. Great question. All right, we got a few more here. Abraham Castillo snuck his in.
What's up?
Said, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Nick and Ian. Hope everyone is having a great week so far. Simple question tonight. The A&E biography series has been great. I agree. I've been watching those.
Dude,
The recent one on Piper revealed how underrated he was as a heel. He was not a great wrestler, but a brawling, pissed-off heel was his bread and butter. Who would
piss off anybody?
Who would you see him have an epic storyline with right now, with him in his vintage Piper in his prime? Who would you see
Daniel
him
Bryan.
have an epic storyline with right now among current wrestlers, any promotion?
Daniel goddamn Bryan. Can you imagine Daniel Bryan getting a good technical match out of Roddy Piper?
Yes.
Piper trying to get him to brawl and Daniel trying to take it to the mat and Piper being such a dick and babyface Daniel Bryan, forget about it. That'd be a million times I'd watch that. And Piper was not that, he was a big dude, but he wasn't that big. So Daniel Bryan wouldn't be that much smaller than him. So that would actually, I think, work really well.
The things that I learned in that biography that I didn't really put in, that I was probably too young to understand, but WrestleMania, the concept of WrestleMania was basically built on the back of Roddy Piper. And yes, a little bit Hogan, but the hype and the heat that he had built up, they basically built WrestleMania on Roddy's back.
They had to surround Hogan with pop culture icons to make him feel cool.
Yeah.
Piper was
the ultimate foil.
Was Piper. Yeah.
For a Hogan.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It is funny how much WWE doesn't really give Piper a lot of his due. They always talk about the slam with Andre, which was big, but you don't have WrestleMania without Piper in WrestleMania 1.
That's true. Imagine how history would have changed if WrestleMania had flopped. Because the other thing you got to think about, Vince cashed out everything to put on WrestleMania at the time in '85. He cashed everything out. There was rumors that he mortgaged shit.
It was sink or swim.
It was a complete all-in bet on WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Had it failed, we wouldn't be here today.
No, we might be, but it might look very different.
Yeah. Let's see. Also, in celebration of my birthday tomorrow and your 4-year anniversary coming up, I became a member of the Vince McMahon tier. What?
What?
You did? Wait. What?
What?
How did I not see that? Holy smokes, Ian. Or, Abraham. Okay, we're going to have to talk about your segment then.
Wow.
Welcome to the Vince McMahon tier, Mr. Super Patron. I would like to request a segment where we help Nick and his pickup game to win back Tony Storm.
The Tony swipes right segment?
Yes. Hey, let's build my online profile.
Swipes right on Nick. All right. Well, we have to do there's one thing we're going to have to do is a montage.
What's that?
We have to do a montage of you training.
Even Rocky had a montage.
That's right. Ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba.
I'm going to go punch some sides of beef in the slaughterhouse. Yeah.
When I'm done with you, Howell, you're going to eat thunder and shit lightning.
Hey, Paulie.
Get after that chicken, Howell. Get after him.
Paulie, why I got to say this chicken for? Oh, God.
Oh, no, we're going on the invitation rabbit hole. Crap. So easy to do.
First of all, Abraham, thank you very much. That is fantastic.
Now we really can start the show.
Now we can start the show. So we'll be in touch. We'll talk about your segment on a month-to-month basis. So
for sure.
Yes. Be in touch.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next. Oh, he also put down here. Please find a way to remove Adnan from Raw commentary. I can't take it anymore. I'm to the point that I would wish for Michael Cole to do both Raw and SmackDown.
Well, it's lucky that, Abraham, I'm here to let you know that I'm in possession of certain skills. Skills acquired over a long career of doing dirty things to dirty people. And now that I see Adnan Virk sitting there in that chair and you've got something out for him and you are a Vince McMahon patron now, I'm going to have to put those skills to good use. And after the show tonight, I'll be packing some bags and heading out to Florida. Hopefully I can take care of that for you.
That's a long drive to Florida, by the way. Okay, dude. Now we're getting that kind of stuff. Hang on. Great.
Oh, my goodness.
Yep. Bye. Sorry, guys. Just, Jesus.
It's a show when you get people coming in and
it's that kind of show. I guess they got nothing better to do.
AC images in there.
All right.
Ways around Twitch's banning stuff. Oh, good.
Great.
All right.
Yeah, they're too busy handing out DMCA strikes to deal with that kind of stuff. So, anywho, thank you very much, Abraham. Again, we'll be in touch. Next up, Brian Lake says, to our fearless, phenomenal leaders, the forbidden door is open. AEW and Impact have pushed their way through. We just had an example of that ourselves. But on tonight's episode of NXT, my eyes are seeing NXT in the ring calling out all challengers. Here come the Briscoes. Ring of Honor is bringing the fight to NXT. What feuds are we getting beyond that? Is there a third independent you'd like to see join the fray?
Besides Impact or Ring of Honor, NXT, and a third? Or are we talking about NXT, Impact, Ring of Honor? On
tonight's episode of NXT, apparently MSK are doing an open challenge, calling out all challengers.
Right. Okay.
And he's saying, here comes the Briscoes.
Sure. From Ring of Honor.
Yep. It's bringing the fight to NXT. Is for real, or is we talking in like fantasy land
Let's say hypothetical. We haven't watched it yet. No spoilers. We don't know.
The Forbidden Door. So we've got Ring of Honor and NXT doing the Forbidden Door thing. What other feuds between those two promotions could we build?
Or I thought he said it was a third promotion we were going to get in here.
Both. Is there a third promotion and third independent you'd like to see join the fray?
I mean, I'd like to see Guerrillas of Destiny versus MSK versus the Briscoes. Guerrillas of Destiny and Briscoes have some history. I don't see why not.
Well, I think he's talking about a third promotion like or
MLW or something like that, like pure indie. Yeah,
Is GCW still a thing? Global Championship?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Absolutely still a thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people still in NWA that we could bring over. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know if they're in any kind of cahoots with the cons about being exclusive.
Here's the thing: is when it comes to indie wrestling, it's been a year since we've really had indie wrestling. So I'm trying to think even who is still out there that could come in that I would be hyped enough to face these guys outside of that. You know, like I would think I would immediately go to Impact and say, hey, it'd be cool if, I don't know, Violent by Design or like Sami Callihan and Eddie Edwards teamed up again and came back or something like that, you know. Or if there's pure...
I mean, Bandito coming over. That's the big one I can think of.
Well, are you talking about Ring of Honor still?
Yeah, who else from Ring of Honor could we bring over to NXT? Like Bandito, Brody King's over there. Can you imagine Brody King versus Karrion Kross? Like, good God. Dalton Castle, Beer City Bruisers over there, Malonis. There's so many people over there I just feel like are doing nothing.
Nick.
What?
Rush versus Santos Escobar.
Book it.
Book it.
Book it.
Book it, Dano.
Put it in my freaking eye holes. God. What are they doing over there? I'm looking down the roster right now. Jay Lethal's still over there, isn't he? Flip Gordon's over there. Poor EC3. Jonathan Gresham.
Gresham would be great.
Mark Haskins.
I mean, I would be down seeing Jacob Fatu come over from MLW and face Karrion Kross, personally.
Ooh, that's not bad. That's good. PCO versus Cross.
Oh, PCO versus Bronson Reed.
Ooh. Damn. Feels like a Lucha Underground situation. What do you mean by that, Esme? That they're just going under? Kelly Klein. Jay calls out Kelly Klein. Is Kelly Klein wrestling again?
Yeah. It's funny.
She was the champion there for a while, and then she went. Yeah. Her and Joey Mercury kind of went nuclear on him.
Yeah, it didn't work out so well. Didn't work out so well. They don't really have a great women's division in Ring of Honor right now. There's a couple of them, but it's not great by any stretch.
No. Who else? Have they got? Alex Shelley's over there. They did have that tease with him and Kushida there for a minute.
Jonathan Gresham versus Kushida. I'll watch that again.
Wow, yes.
I'll watch that again. You bring Mike Bennett back. Give him some redemption.
It just couldn't be the Maria Kanellis show. Mike Bennett is a phenomenal in-ring talent. And I feel like he's been squandered over and over, and a lot of it has had to do with Maria. Being more attention, being on. I just thought of one too. Just weird crossover. What if we could have Danhausen with Darby Allin? God.
By the way, speaking of Lucha Underground, Esme, I'm not sure if you knew Marty Casillas is on Dark tonight. Marty the Moth.
Yay!
He's having his first match against Brian Cage. Lucha Underground reunion. Yeah, it's happening.
Oh, that is so good. He live streams all the time. Him and his wife work out and play fun games and do all. He has it's manic.
Boy,
it is true Marty the Moth.
Abs. He's built some abs, by the way.
Oof, goodness.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely be watching Dark as I'm editing this once we get off here. That is so exciting. I can't wait to jump on his stream and shout him out. That's so good. In fact, let me see if he's not streaming right now. He's probably on TV. Well, no, they recorded that. Anyway.
So there you go.
There you go. Do we have one more? Nope, that was the last one. That was it. Let me hit refresh one more time just to make sure nobody snuck one in.
Make sure, yeah.
That is it. All right, guys. There you go. Patron mailbag number 79 in the bag. There we go. Thank you guys for tuning in again to another awesome Tuesday show here at BWO Live and the Patron Mailbag. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for all of the subs and bits. Esme snuck one in here with 100 bits. Said, fun fact, Rowdy quit WWE to do They Live because Vince thought the movie was going to bomb. He told Roddy, you can wrestle or do the movie. You can't do both. So Roddy said, okay, peace out.
Yep. And the movie bombed. But now it's considered a classic. It's
absolute cult classic.
Who's right in the end, Vince?
Yeah.
Who's right in the end?
And he ended up wrestling still. So whatever, Whatever. And still went down as one of the biggest legends of all time.
Yes, he did. Yep. I wish he'd done more movies.
Same.
Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Anyway. They Live is fantastic too. If you haven't seen that yet. Yardy was talking about horror movies.
All those Carpenter movies.
Anything Carpenter in the
Everybody,
80s.
that was your bonus episode, or that was your Patron Mailbag episode. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Thank you everyone in the chats. We appreciate you being here live with us. It's always more fun when we got some people interacting with us live. And if you're listening to us later, thank you for being a listener to our show. We appreciate it so much. Thank you to everyone for checking in. We will be back this coming Friday for our regular show after SmackDown. But don't forget, if you're a patron or if you're not, you can actually tune in live and watch us for free on Thursday. We will be doing our bonus episode, and you can sneak in and listen to it for free live if you're not a patron. So just a word to the wise. It's going to be a really fun one. As well as check us out on Going in Raw as well this Thursday. But it's going to be a big week, Nick. But that's it for our show. Thank you so much, everybody. It's always a pleasure. We'll be back very soon.
Guys, linktree.com/BWO. All the links to all the things. Go over there, like, share, subscribe, push all the buttons. You guys know what to do in 2021. We appreciate all the love. Thanks for following us everywhere. Follow us here on Twitch, subscribe over on YouTube, and hang tight, YouTube fans, because I've got some Twitch-like loyalty rewards coming to YouTube as well. So if you prefer watching on YouTube as opposed to Twitch, pretty soon you'll be able to have some badges, emojis, emotes, all of that kind of good stuff over there as well. We're introducing some tiers with our 4-year anniversary here in 3 weeks, I think is what it is. 3 weeks from Friday.
Coming up
soon. We got a lot of graphics, new merch, all kinds of good stuff, new streams, overlays, all that's coming on May 21st. Mark your calendars. You do not want to miss it. But until then, my name is Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at DataCenterDude.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Ian Dangerous.
But my God!
Would somebody stop the damn match?
This show is part of the Orbital Jigsaw Network. For more episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. For details and show notes from each episode, check us out, orbitaljigsaw.com.